Oh my God, here we go again. The water's still there. Oh my God, here we go. We are recording. How you doing?
What's going on?
It's all good, man. Oh my God.
Oh, everything's dark.
I know. Dude, I got fucking late.
Ooh,
I can't fuck around. My skin's way too dark for that. So I already know. But yeah, okay, cool. Man, Marc's gonna be here, and I think he said John. I'm not quite sure.
yeah, John's gonna be there too. It said they're waiting on the link, but I saw you sent it, so.
Yeah, it'll let you know. They'll get up here in a minute. That's no big deal. Who's? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Oh my God.
There he is.
Unmute yourself, sir. It's all right. It takes a second. It's no big deal. But oh man, who?
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Here, I'll move the camera a tiny bit. Got
Where is he?
John's arm in the frame right here. There.
Ah, there he is.
Hey, John.
It's obstructed by the microphone. Like Monsters Inc. Like at the end of the movie where they have like the magazine that gets distributed and like the barcode is like covering up Mike Wazowski. I don't know.
Oh my God. Well, I was taking it back. I love that movie so much.
You know, you have like a podcast idea right there. Just Mark and John's arm every Monday morning.
I like that. Yeah. Excuse me for how I look. I literally just got up about 5 minutes ago because I was talking with Nate until like about 4:30 in the morning.
That's hilarious. No, I get up super late too. It's funny that you said that. Nate is amazing, but like after I got through with some Zoom calls yesterday, Fred the Felon like just randomly called me. I'm like, what the heck was going on? So he's
I gotta give him a call later today too.
Yeah, and like, dude, we talked for like 3 hours. So he goes,
yeah.
Oh my God, he's the best, dude. Love it.
He's funny as hell too. Like, oh my God, we were like I just remember like kind of like half drunkenly like just getting him back to his truck and all that when we were in Detroit, and we were watching the 1 a.m. like Yang coverage in the car. Meanwhile, the back of my car is trashed, and I got John and Nate like Indian packed back there, and like Fred's just like just like watching like that, and it's like, yeah, I wanted to watch it too, but I felt like Nate and John were gonna die, so we had to like get back to my place.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, this is what number podcast is this?
So this was originally just our meetings, just trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our project. So this is like the 5th meeting or something, but technically this is gonna be the 4th episode of me posting it on YouTube and stuff. So this is technically the 4th episode of Gang Gang Media. And really talk about right now so it's kind of a free-for-all, but right now we really want to focus on Sergey's amazing mall idea. I did not upload this video yet. It's like currently uploading to YouTube right now. You probably haven't seen or heard about this, but he has an amazing idea.
I just heard about it.
We were drunk.
Spent a really long time
talking about it. Like, yeah, I got John here. He can vouch. I like the idea. I really do. Yeah.
Oh my God. That, and then also yeah, you can take it away, Sergey. It really is like your show at this point. Like you have just the best ideas. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, really, the whole thing is, Mark, like we were talking about. There's a lot that we as individuals can do. So this is a free for all for say what you as an individual can do. I mean, you're doing a bunch of stuff with music. So like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. Well, I will say there are certain things that in regards to the campaign, there's going to be like a few like communication gaps I'm going to have to be taking, but for the most part, a lot of individual media planning. You guys just saw I dropped the photos yesterday, and now we're at this point where it's really, like you guys said, it's a free-for-all of ideas. Whoever has the best idea, pitch it. And it's not just the campaign that can take the idea. Now we're having other organizations that can help us out with it. So it's really up to whatever the hell we want to do and what we can prove that will actually attract people. John and me and Nate, and then we brought in Sergey over the debate weekend about the idea of reaching out locally to whatever your city's local scene is at nighttime. You know, what do people go out for? Where do people go to relax is kind of the key right there. And then, granted, if they're like really relaxing, you don't want to bother them. But, you know, it's like in Detroit, that's like techno. In Grand Rapids, that's like punk. And wherever, it's like that, you know. And it's just about finding how you can really interject Yang's message into that, because Yang's message has wide appeal. And especially in the art scene, that's perfect. Artists for Yang, and think of all the artists, you know, that were just getting started. They had an extra $1,000 a month. That's just one thing. So it's just a matter of connecting and just bringing out the message to where people are relaxed and willing to be a lot more sociable.
No, I just want to say, where are you from? I know where you're from, but for the audience, where are you from, Mark?
Hello. We're currently down here in downtown Detroit, Michigan. I moved down here just under 2 years ago. Knew nothing about any of the scene down here. Experienced it, and now I'm not leaving Detroit unless you really bribe me. So, you know, I guess I'll drop the PayPal down in the description or something, and we'll get the briberies going. No, kidding, but
I will send me your PayPal link. I have it all. Everything.
Oh my goodness! But the whole point is, Detroit has an amazing techno scene, and I mean, he could probably like really differentiate like techno from just what you might think of as like standard EDM or whatever. But it's just so.
It's very old, and also young, and multicultural. You actually don't find the diversity that we have in Detroit in any other club scene in America besides probably New York, just because they have so many options. But we actually, per capita, we really have a lot of options. It's kind of crazy how many options we have for experiencing that. And for example, the event that I met both of you at, and it's great to see your faces once again, by the way. That's a major venue, you know, within the techno scene here. They host definitely some of the most influential parties there, and that's like just like one of about like 10 places.
There's so many like quality venues.
So, you know, that's just like such a big part of the identity of like being here and living here that like it just made the most sense to like reach out in that way. And, you know, in Chicago, you would have house music, and in Minneapolis, there's like a big dance scene. And each one of those cities also has really unique problems. That's the other thing that like we were talking about as well. If you're going to have a fundraising event, I think you should also probably be fundraising for, you know, additionally for something that's actually like going on that affects those people's lives in that city. For example, I was just at a party in Hamtramck, Michigan, which is really close to Detroit here. You know, it's like a tiny 2 square mile town that was a separate district for tax reasons a long time ago because of manufacturing and stuff like that. But I was there, and it was a party for Answer, which is an organization that helps sex workers with things like getting housing, because they face a lot of discrimination in the rental market, and Also, you know, obviously helping them seek legal counsel if they need that. And so, you know, that's a big problem here. There was just an active serial killer, actually, who was targeting sex workers on the east side of Detroit for a number of months. And they actually obtained this individual, so that's no longer going on. But these are real ass problems. And, you know, in the Twin Cities, for example, they have a huge issue with a housing crisis for Native Americans, you know, and so in Chicago, they have huge gang violence issues. So we thought that, like, if we were organizing these events nationwide, which is something that an organization is talking about doing, we thought that we should probably be like focusing on these issues that are like very real for those communities, so that
it's not just like donate to Andrew Yang. It's the fact that his platform and message would be able to coincide with that, and we can find the commonality for each individual situation, right? So, like, that's, I mean, the sky's the limit with that, right?
so that we're, you know, so that people know that we're actually listening to them.
Yeah, and we're not just doing it because politics. I mean, we are, but we aren't, you know?
Yeah, I love that so much. Yeah, Yang's message, it really is flexible. And because him himself, like his personality is very like compassionate and very empathetic. So it attracts people that are like that as well. And I love that so freaking much. So even you know, you help out these people and then you end up, you know, they end up knowing Yang. It's not even like, oh, he's just like, you know, some politician. He's like an actual person. They can see why you like him, because like, oh wait, like he's trying to help me too, essentially. You know, that sex worker can feel like somebody is looking out for them in our freaking like government, which is like mind blowing.
Yeah,
Heard of.
you really touched on like the big idea of this, like what we're doing here too, where it's not just the fact that we're promoting Yang. It's that realization that there are thousands of us right now that are like-minded, and we want to see the world going in a very similar direction. And that thousand of us, like, before I met you guys, I didn't know that there was one other person like that, you know? And now I see that, holy crap, there are so many of us. So this is beyond Yang. This is, you know, throw out your ideas, because if your idea is good enough, then all of us 1,000 people can make sure that that idea happens. And that goes to what you're saying exactly. You know, it's great that we're not just thinking about what the campaign is thinking about. We're also thinking about like, what do we as individuals and as voters, but also just as people, like what are we trying to do? Where are we trying to go? You know, because we don't have what we want right now. Obviously, that's why we're for Yang.
And you know, I've been involved in like nightlife planning for so long, and I've noticed a trend over the past like 3 or so years where, you know, last night I was at an event, and it was a Monday night, and it was like totally packed, and it was like a fundraiser for like women bartenders. So like all these awesome bartenders who are women from Detroit are like behind the same bar for one time because they work at all these like different places, but like now they're together and it's like a rock star lineup, and they're doing all their own cocktails. And I've just noticed that that's like the direction that people are going, because it was like totally packed on a Monday night. And like, I think everybody like recognizes that, and basically their reaction to it is like, okay, cool. Like, I want to be at that because this is something that I care about, and yo, that's cool.
It's also a great reason to get, you know, just hammered on a Monday night too.
That's
I mean,
true.
You got the great balance there.
Yeah, so I like recognize that there's like huge potential for that actually. Like, maybe not the campaign doing events for that, but like another organization. And there's a lot of stuff being talked about right now, basically. And it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of what that's the idea with trying to do the tour is, that it would be nice if we can get it, going with the campaign. But even if we just get the volunteers, you think, like we were talking yesterday, if you get the bigger the bigger players, the Atlanta, Portland, Detroit, anything that's really rising, anywhere we can get, like Nevada, even a couple hundred people out to an event. Because when you think about it, like a couple hundred people out to a local show is like that's your huge crowd that your like little tiny bar is looking for. And 100 people with Yang signs at a local bar that just gets taken over. And that's the kind of exposure we want right now. Because right now, when people are completely disengaged, they don't even know who Bernie Sanders is really. They're gonna turn on their TV finally and go, oh, that dude is running again, and they'll be like, all right, well, that's interesting.
That's a good point, because when I was doing phone banking, for the most part, the few people that I got, most people were like, I don't care who wins, anybody but Trump, okay? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And when I talk to, I know, right? I know. I like that kind of makes me upset. They don't even know like how most people right now are not really into the primaries like we are. Which was, like you said, like people are very disengaged, and plus there's still so many candidates. So they're like, I'm not even going to try to look at who's in there right now. But again, that's the potential that like Yang has. Like people don't know who he is at all, and the fact that he's still going to be there in September and the October debates is really huge. And boy, like even though Sanders is like, Sanders is in a weird position. Like people know him, but a lot of people don't. Like it's strange. He's way more popular among the younger crowd, of course. But I would argue that he probably is more of a household name to most voters, I think. But again, that's just like voters that like regularly vote all the time. There's so many.
I guess that's what I was trying to say, is that like those are voters, and like we follow like even the people on Twitter, people that watch TV. But I'm thinking about myself when I was 18 to 23, and I was engaged. Like I knew who Elon Musk was. I really cared about the environment, so I knew what was going on in the tech industry. I knew that like Bezos was already taking everything over, and this was like 2008, 2009. Like I already saw where it was going, but politics, I did not care. I did not care. I don't even remember who ran, like who the other candidates were with Obama. I don't remember. I can barely remember who, I can barely remember who the Republicans were. I just don't. And even when Barack Obama even came up as like voting for him, I was just like, wow, this came out of nowhere. Everyone else was just like, oh, you didn't hear about this candidate? And I was like, and me and all my friends, we were all like, no, because I turn off politics on my phone. I turn off politics on my social media, and we all do too. Like you can live in an echo chamber, never once hear anything about politics. And then same thing with people that follow sports or are really, really into wrestling. You'll hear like, yeah, somebody's, a player knelt, and most of them are like, get politics out of my sport. That's all, they don't want to hear what's going on in any of that sense. So even though like, yeah, Bernie's a household name to people that this is what they do, and now more people are engaged because of social media, but also there are still those people that, think about the K-pop community. They care about K-pop. They don't care about politics.
No.
The punk rockers, are you kidding me? You think the punks give a crap about who's running for elect? They just know that there's a bunch of them, and that's it. So that's where I think the great push is going to come from, is that it's all the people that they're going to turn their TV on in October and go, oh, wow, who's that guy?
It's funny, like when I was talking, oh wait, Sergey, you muted yourself. But when I was talking to Fred last night, we had mentioned the polls, and he brought up a really good point in saying that the reason why, you know, Andrew Yang probably is not polling like, you know, like a 5% nationwide or like even at 10% is because, wait, hold up. You guys can hear me, right? I think you can. But, okay, good. But it's because the pollsters only call, you know, Democratic voters. Think about so many Republicans that support Yang right now that maybe haven't registered as Democrat. They're still like registered as a Republican, but they haven't crossed over yet because, you know, maybe they're, you know, they don't you know, feel like it or they don't know how. I don't, doesn't matter to me. Oh, it does matter, but like, is that, and then the people that, you know, like Sergey, that they are probably independent, they don't want to deal with it. Those are the people that Yang is getting like a lot, that of course the polls are not going to reflect that because it's the Democratic polls. So, I mean, I don't know, like, I'm not even concerned with it really. Like, I think we're on like a really great path of just like you said, like, there's so many people that are just going out there and like just talking to people about Yang, like in their streets. Like, the grassroots is so, we're so like self-sufficient. And that's why I love like having meetings like this, so we can just get more organized a little bit at a time, just to make sure where people are at, and just to make sure, you know, like everybody knows what's happening, because that's what's really going to bring Yang to the top. It's not, you know, the mainstream media it's not any of that. It's gonna be us, and that's why I love us so freaking much. But yeah, you know, Mark and John, have any more thoughts before we get into this mall situation and the tour situation?
I mean, yeah, like just when it comes down to polling and pollsters and all that, listen, America has been, you know, doing this BS to itself and just beating itself over the head with all these like poll numbers for so many decades. It is, I mean, who the hell has a landline? Do you guys have a landline? Anyone, speak up now. Landlines, where are the landlines? I don't have one. Do you have a fax machine? I mean, come on.
Actually, you know, speaking about landlines, this is a really great idea. If you're a band out there watching this, get a landline and connect it to your band, because there's no, like, you don't want people calling you on your cell phone. You don't want, and then you can have like a really, really funny and witty recording. Just be like, oh, yeah, well, welcome to Another Man's Trash. We will be right with you. And then maybe you actually picked up the phone and it wasn't a robot caller. People are just like 000. But either way, if you're a band, get on a landline. It's like, what, $5 a month? It's almost nothing to you, but it's going to be one of those things where if you put it on a business card, everybody's going to be like, what the fuck? This is awesome. And then as a band, all of the bands in America will be called on election, on or before elections, and will be polled. And you don't want to know what we think. They're going to poll us, and we're just going to be like, Miley Cyrus, screw it. Miley Cyrus for president. Oh, Miley Cyrus is polling at 30%. How is this possible? And so what you said, polls don't matter. Americans can say that they're going to vote in a poll one way because they want people to think a certain way of them. You know, they want to be like, oh, I'm going to say I'm for Biden in this poll because I'm the sensible one, and I want my friends to know I'm sensible. But then when you're in a closed room and the curtain's back there and you're like, no one's going to know who I voted for. And that's why most people were like, Trump. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to vote for, like, break that wheel. Let's do this. Let's get politicians out of office. So when people go to the voting booths and they're going to be like, Biden, Sanders, Warren, like, man, I've had to listen to them and watch their commercials, and like, man, I'm so sick of hearing that. And they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Yang, I remember Yang. Like, he was like Marianne and like Tulsi, but then but then he's also gonna give me $1,000 a month, and they're all gonna vote Yang. Because when behind closed doors, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna do the thing that's gonna give me $1,000. Screw it, my
friend. That's the funny thing. You mentioned all those three. They're all in favor of UBI. Gabbard, Williamson, and Yang. I honestly, that's my like dream three. That I wish they would, you know, combine forces and just obliterate people in this, you know, outside of the box way that Trump did in 2016. Like you guys are saying, when Trump was doing his thing in 2016, 2015, and 2016, Yeah, of course he bullied his way to the top. That's a conversation for another day. But the point is that he was the candidate to break the system, or at least that's how he sold himself. And drain the swamp and all that. But then he got in there and he just got tied down in the swamp. So now we've got a chance where we've got actual policy to flush out all the things that created the swamp, quote unquote, in the first place, i.e. democracy dollars. If you tell someone, what do you think about democracy dollars? They'll say, what the hell are democracy dollars? And then you'll say, well, this is something you get, once a year or whatever. You get $100 to send over to any type of candidate or, political group, whatever the hell that you want to. Usually just candidates, because I think political groups are going to be a thing of the past if we actually do get our, crap together. But, Christ, you can just keep going with all of these things that the Trump voters voted for Trump for in the first place, but like the reasons they did want to make a positive change in the country. They wanted to drain the swamp. That didn't happen, of course. So now we have a policy to say this actually statistically will drain the swamp. So that's going to be the whole thing that we've got to really just push, is we are the outsider campaign. I think I don't think there are any other candidates that are running a train like kind of Yang is right now.
No.
And now we're starting to really surge in not only the polls, but let's just call it the stats, the numbers, because even old people are getting on the Yang gang. And that's, really, sorry if you're old and you're watching this, but,
we love you.
Seriously, that's just what I'm so flabbergasted by, is what the hell? How did this happen? But it's like, oh, wait, he's talking about common sense change that we needed about 30, 40 years ago in America. And it's not the type of change that lets the wealthy go and just run the entire country.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned the old, because
for a second, John has
sorry, I have to go. I have to move. It really sucks.
Oh,
That's okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, though.
No, I can still hang by, but yeah. You guys keep chatting for a second. I'll be back in 2 minutes, okay?
No problem.
yeah. So yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the old folk vote, because everything that Yang is doing is actually better for older people than younger people. Because older people, again, with retirement, you get to retire a little more comfortably. With Medicare for all, being able to negotiate drug prices, being able to, tax Amazons and tech companies to give you money so you can have stores in your smaller communities, in your more rural towns, so you don't have to, navigate computers or anything like that. You can just walk down the street and buy something again. And then for young people, actually what he's saying to them is get to work, because now you have the incentive, you have the money, we're empowering you. And so now if you're not working, you young people, you don't have an excuse anymore. Get to work, do your videos, make new movies. He wants new movies, make new music, make new businesses, start businesses where you're going up to companies and you're trying to sell your solar to companies, not just to people in door to door. How about that? It's a really great business. Or sell solar to oil and gas and stuff, and plants like that, because you can tell them that they can run their power plants more efficiently if they use renewable energy, and they have the money to invest into it. So why not? And young people will do that. So I guess that's what I love about his campaign, is when you start to look at what it really is doing, he's actually just trying to, he's like, people, you matter as individuals. Stop thinking that corporations, organizations, or someone else is going to do this for you, because it was a bunch of individuals that got together to create those corporations in the first place. So so everybody just needs to kind of get this little booster pack to just start moving, and then almost literally move to where you need to go to. Get your butt out of a situation that you're not happy with, and get your butt into a situation that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you at least are for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the most one of the most underrated attributes about Yang, that he's holding everybody accountable, you know, not just the big tech companies, but us too. Like one of the first things that I really, when I was first getting into Yang, like when he said like, it's Amazon's job to avoid paying taxes, but it's our job to kind of not let that happen. So I'm just like, oh yeah, that is true. Like, like it really is like nobody's gonna just hand you over, what you need in this life. You really do have to work for it. Obviously like $1,000 a month, like I know it is perceived as a handout and perceived as like, we're begging for money and stuff, but really it's a way to cycle the money that's already in the system. Like right now it's not cycling properly, is getting offshored and like snuck through here and like in the back door here. I'm
just gonna cut in real quick before, just like cycling the money. If we're talking about getting rid of lobbyist incentives, well then that's pretty much what you're doing. Is instead of giving money to lobbyists and lawyers and crooked numbers people, you're giving money to the people to then put back into your system. So instead of having to lobby for it, you just give people the money to buy it, and they'll just get their, there's your self-sustaining economy. Like why would you give money to a bunch of lawyers to advocate for something that is eventually going to fall through and hurt a bunch of people, if you could just not do that and then save some money that way? Like it's like kind of like Yang is saying, everybody's spending money to cut corners. Why? Why should we be spending money to cut corners? We can just be spending money to not cut corners, and then there will be incentives in that.
By the way, like I think Zoom is going to let us go for a bit. It may cut us off in 10 minutes, just to let you know. Right now, like our past Zoom meetings have been pretty legit because like we've been filming for like hours and hours. But just let you know that may happen. I don't know, but we'll go on for as long as we possibly can, for free at least.
I think it's like under like 4 people or something like that. They don't really care about the time. But I think right now it's just saying you got 9 minutes left just to well, it's an incentive for Zoom. Like they're like, hey, wouldn't this be great to not have this anxious little number ticking down above your heads?
I know, right? Listen, the more they let us stay, the more we'll come back. So it's like it helps them out, So I love it. But
I just wanted to mention two things again. We are planning a tour, and it's going to be nationwide. It's going to be wherever, yes, in your backyard tour. But I'm thinking about calling it Higher Ground, because that's his idea for climate change, and it's just to remind us that we have to do something, and if we don't do something, that the thing that's going to come in and make us all kind of realize that we have to do something is still going to happen. So the earlier we do it, the better. But also Higher Ground, because we all love weed, because that is the, it's the oil of the 31st century. But we're getting there. We're getting there. But then the other part of that is the mall idea. Let's reinvent the mall. Let's make a mall a place where we hang out. And I touched on it briefly, but it wouldn't be a bad idea also to try and have these tours set up in places like that, so we can have especially if you're going to do an EDM and punk show mix, and you just have a bunch of people basically at a rave at an abandoned mall. I cannot think of anything more punk rock or more EDM than that.
That's pretty nice.
So if you are a city council person, zoning guy of any city watching this, for whatever, because you're a Yang fan and you just stumbled across this, thank you, by the way. Let us know if we can come to your mall, put on an amazing show, and and it'll be all about humanity first. So it's gonna be a good time.
Your email is the grand.rapids.yang.gang, right? Okay, I'll link in the description below. Great. So
yes, it is.
That's Sergey's contact information. And again, all the, if you are a new Yang Gang member, or you haven't you're just still getting used to the campaign and the grassroots space. The grassroots is this is pretty much it. Us, and it's an extension of thousands and thousands of other people across the nation, and really our main thing is like, you know, like we said in the beginning, we have so many great ideas. It's just a matter of one, just like organizing a way that we can all communicate and effectively. And then two is like finance, like just budgeting, making sure everybody can do what they need to do. So yeah, like all the, you know, all the PayPals are down below and everything like that. Like just, I mean, like heck, $1 or $2 if you want to contribute to whatever project we're doing in the moment, that's also essential as well. Yeah, I mean, and if you have any other ideas, like, listen, you guys have great ideas. I see it on Reddit all the time and like, you know, Facebook, like there's so many great people that like, I wish I can give money to. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to give money to everybody and like help you guys do what you need to do. Get your merch, you know, like spread the word in your town. I think it's funny that I think last week, me, Sergey, Quintus, what's her freaking name? I think it's Debbie. No, wait. I forget. I'm so sorry, girl. And Dion, we were in a meeting as well, and they brought up a really good point that there are a lot of people that, especially in like people of color, like Black people, maybe even Hispanic to a certain degree, that the way that you get their attention is not through social media a lot of the time. It is like, you know, going out to like, I don't know, like they're like stores and like, you know, going out to a park and just, you know, hanging out with people, getting to know people, and then kind of bringing up, hey, you know, are you into politics at all? They'll probably say no. But like, you know, Yang is more than politics. Honestly, if you guys can even like, we talk to people, if we just talk about like the community that Yang Gang is building, just like the amount of like art and creativity that's being sprung out, all the people that make memes and GIFs, and all the people that are making YouTube videos for the first time, all the people that are going on Twitter for the first time, you know, just to like give their support to Yang. You can talk about this with regular people and they're like, they may not be technological, like literate, but they can like sense that, wait, there's something going on, and people naturally want to be a part of like the conversation. So it's just like a good, you know, that's a good segue as well to, you know, bring the word to Yang, to people that may not, you know, are not on social media all the time, or they're just living their lives trying to like, you know, day by day, trying to grind and hustle. You know, like we're trying to come at this from all angles.
Yeah, so you're talking about the best way to go out is to meet people. That is absolutely what it is. I took my guitar out yesterday on my way to practice, and me and my drummer are walking. I'm playing it, and this guy on a bike. I mean, you can tell he's been drinking with his friends, and you know, I live in a neighborhood that everyone says is a bad neighborhood, but it's not. It's just very community based, and everyone knows each other, and everybody knows who's who and who drinks too much and who works too much and who is doing what. You know, like that's not a bad thing. It's a lot better than the suburb that I grew up in, where everybody shut their doors and I was known as the bad kid because I smoked weed. And now I'm in Michigan and everybody's like, oh, who cares? Because it's legal. And but yeah, so anyway, so I take my guitar out and this dude, you know, walks past me and he's like, let me hear you play. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And he thinks that I'm, you know, gonna suck. And cause he's like, who's this dude? And I play and he's like, oh wow. And then some guy pulls up and into somebody's driveway right to where I'm playing. And he's like, is it cool if I record? And my buddy's like, yeah. So I'm standing there like playing this 3-4 minute song. This dude's recording it. This you know, this other dude's just enjoying it. Then he starts talking to my drummer, and I hear him. He's like, oh, I wanted to kind of like catch him off guard because I didn't think he'd be good or anything like that. But then he started playing, and you guys are good. And I'm like, okay, great. And of course, you know, it's like, oh, can I find you guys anywhere? Do you have an online thing? And I'm like, Google Andrew Yang, like, or do something, you know. Find Andrew Yang, and you'll get to know like what kind of people we are. I'm sure if you start following Andrew Yang, you will at one point stumble across my band's page because we're all in for him. So then, you know, I'm like, okay, tell George we're gonna be late to practice because we had to play the song. So we walk 10 more minutes, and I'm playing this this is one of the most like hardcore punk rock songs by the Blood Brothers, which if you know who they are, they are just a noise machine factory but a lot of really really good lyrics, they're basically it's talking about all of the important issues. But anyway, Blood Brothers are another thing of itself. I shouldn't have even mentioned it. So I'm walking playing this hardcore punk song, but in my own style, of course, with acoustics, and this family walks up from the porch and is like, hey, can you play that song here? And I was like, okay, sure, why not? So I go up to them on the porch, and all of them take out their phones. And the guy's like, play that song again. Like, we love that song that you were just playing. Play that song again. And I'm like, that same song? He's like, yeah. Okay, so they all hit record, and now there are 8 phones recording me. This dude is just going crazy. And then I'm like, do you guys want to hear an original? They're like, sure. I play the original, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you're walking around here and playing your guitar. And he's like, we love it. We love it. Please keep doing this because this is what we need. And I'm like, thank you. And they're like, again, it's like, well, do you, they're like, so do you have a web page or something like that? I'm like,
oh my God, damn it. We were at our climax. We're at the climax, dude. Well, Sarah, like I said, Zoom kicked us the fuck off. So sorry guys for the anticlimax. But yeah, basically the end of that story was I think we just walked off into the sunset playing while they were cheering. Oh my God. And again, that shout out to Yang 2020 was just amazing. Let me try to find this tweet. Because, like we were saying, the going out and talking to people is so freaking impactful. And there's a person on Twitter, Jay, if you're watching this, hey Jay, he was doing that in New York City.
Yeah, I use Zoom. Damn.
I know. I had a feeling they would kick me off. I think they probably heard a lot of voices, so maybe that's why they were like, "Wait a minute, there's a lot of people up in here." So, but that's
trying to start a revolution. What are they? What's that called? Oh, yeah, you can't have that.
I know, right? Oh man, this makes me now. Man, I probably will upgrade to this stupid premium whatever because I'll bite the bullet for you guys because I do want to make these really long and juicy. Well, actually, Sergey had to go to work anyway, so I guess that worked out for him. But
it's kind of funny because Sean from Campaign still I think it's on the free version, and it's like,
oh my God,
and it's like, wait, hold on.
I know, right?
I know you guys aren't the best in funding and spending and all that, right? I'm like, hold up, no, I'm not sure. It's Zoom is nice, other than the fact that we got that 40-minute terrorizing message.
The countdown, yeah. Well, the good thing is that it keeps things short and concise and but we're trying to freaking podcast here, so that's why it's probably best to invest in that. But yeah, I was just saying that he texted us. They apparently played and into the sunset while they cheered. I think that's freaking amazing and beautiful.
No, yeah, when I ran into Sergey at the Tech Town event, if you guys don't know, Andrew Yang fundraiser event, I was outside smoking a cigarette, as you can probably kind of get the message of it. A little too much for my health. But the point is, I was out there and he just comes by just strumming away and stuff, and then he starts throwing these Yang Gang lyrics in it, and I'm like, is that Sergey? And he's like, hey, I'm Sergey. And I'm just like, oh, that was awesome. He literally just introduced himself by strumming the guitar, walking down the block and just walking right out. It was just Sergey is a majestic person, dude.
He really is. I remember when I was in the fundraiser, I think I was talking to Nate or somebody, and I just happened to mention K-pop, and then he just so happened to be walking past this conversation, and then he was like, "Oh, snap, K-pop!" And I'm like, "Oh, snap! There's somebody here that likes K-pop."
Yes.
I remember wait, I was like, keep that person in mind, Alyssa. Talk to him eventually. So I had to talk to him, and you know, when I finally got a chance to, I was like, yep, this is the guy. He's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I'm just like I cannot believe how far this campaign has gone, because like when I really started getting involved in like April, May, that's when like I started like actually applying like a lot more of my time to it. I was interested, and I guess you could say I was like Yang since like January, February, something like that. But I was pro UBI for like a year before that. And then I hear there's a guy running on UBI, and I'm like, okay, hopefully he's not a dumbass, or hopefully he's not doing it just for, you know, all these politician reasons. And then I just listened to Yang talk on these podcasts, and it was like, oh, he's human. And at that point, it's the sky's the limit, because that is exactly people like us and people doing this type of thing. You know, like you said, like Fred just calling you out of the blue or whatever. By the way, everyone, go look up Fred the Felon on YouTube. He's got great commentary. Could not recommend him enough. But like the similar thing happened to me. I was just at Temple Bar. What was it? Maybe like less than a week ago in Detroit. And he just calls me out of the blue. He's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? And I'm just like, hey, person that, you know, may or may not be talking with Andrew, you know, right before me. You know, it's like, but that's what I love about it, is it's not, you know, we did have our problems in recent months with like certain people playing up the I'm more trustworthy than you kind of shtick, but that is very few and far between in this campaign. There really aren't that many hoops to jump through. And in these next coming months, we're going to be, it's going to be all us, not just us, but like people like us. And we need to scale up and really just connect the message that you believe in some things and you believe in some values. Let us show you the humanity first values, and you let us know what you agree and disagree with. You know, and I think that's just kind of one of the best ways to get people interested, then Yang curious, and then researching Yang, liking Yang, then you're Yang gang. That's just how it goes, you know. I mean, I know there's that 7 stages of Yang graphic, but like, you know, I'm kind of building off of that. It's just, we just need to get people onto the idea that we actually do have a chance to change things, for the likes of which this country has, oh my God, it has not seen in like 50 plus years. You know, it's like, this is, I hate saying it this way, and I agree. Fred and I had a great talk over to the debate, the 2 days of debates.
Right.
If in my books, anyone but Trump is probably one of the most dangerous things the left could be pushing right now. I agree with a sentiment.
You mean anybody but Yang?
I mean, that's the thing, is like, I really do think Yang is one of the only guys out there that has a chance to make both sides shake hands. And he's doing that by saying there aren't two sides. It's not left, it's not right, it's forward. We just need to address what we need to address. We're not going to take your guns, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll offer to buy them back. We'll offer to upgrade them so your kids can't fire them. That's good. That's agreeable policy for pro 2A people. You know, and that's a large base of Trump voters that are just clinging on to Trump right now because, you know, I would say Second Amendment rights and the fact that he's just pretty unfiltered. But then you got to realize what comes after that. You know, this was Trump's first term. What would his second term look like? And that's where I see the anyone but Trump argument. But if we get this centrist, incrementalist, you know, Democrat in there, it's not going to help things. They're going to still uphold the military-industrial complex. They're going to still uphold, you know, all of these incremental healthcare changes that we need so desperately right now. And if you don't mind me saying this, Alyssa, the reason I am running, or not running, I'm not running for president. I can't. The reason I'm running around for Yang, let's say, is if Yang doesn't get elected, or if Yang gets elected, that is the lowest chance that my mom will die. And my mom, just as a little bit of background, she used to be an RN, registered nurse, worked at Hurley in Flint, Michigan, got electrocuted in 1992, got terrible settlement, and that completely ruined her nervous system to the point where right now, like some of her doctors literally quote her saying, you have the spine that is equivalent to a 95-plus-year-old woman. And she can't get the help from the healthcare industry. That only gives her just a few little, pennies here and there. And then, like the SSDI, that's decreasing and decreasing. So her disability and all that she gets so she can just live a life, it's not enough. So then when I hear Yang says, oh yeah, UBI will stack with that. Also, we're going to fix the healthcare and health insurance, all of those things. I'm just like, wait, this is like the full package here. This isn't just Medicare for all. This is actually something to stack on top of the things that my mom needs right now. Because right now she has to see a load of specialists, and it's copay after copay after copay. And it's getting to the point where it's just completely draining her bank account. What happens when that bank account is gone?
Yeah, they're not going to give a shit. And yeah.
It's just one person, yeah, or whatever. They were a leech anyways on our system. And it's like, hey, that's my mom you're talking about.
Oh my God.
So that's a large reason what's driving me to stay in this and do these unorthodox things that we're planning just to get people thinking at least about humanity first values and or just Yang himself. Because we really do have I think, the best chance to reach across the aisles and also to tap into that non-voter market. The other candidates, do you really think Biden's going to pull the non-voters? Come on. Do you really think Kamala is? Do you really think Warren is? Do you think Bernie is even? Bernie's going to make the divide between us versus them. And that's, if I might say something, that's dangerous. Saying it's red versus blue, yes, that is the two-party system, but you can't separate people. You got to engage them. And that is why I love this campaign so much. So sorry for rambling there, but.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Sergey's way worse than you. So you're totally fine about that. I love him to death. But yeah. Wow. Yeah. Listen, we get real up on my channel at least. So I love that that's your motivation. I'm sure that's a lot of people's motivations. Is either one, themselves, or two, it's themselves and or like a friend or a family that they're like, yeah, this would like, boy, like just the thought that like when I talk to people online, I know it's online, like people are, can be kind of crazy online, but like just to characterize, people that support UBI and Yang, and it could be like, oh, like people, especially unfortunately a lot of Bernie supporters, they're so they want Bernie in so badly that like anybody else is a threat. And that's so sad because I respect Bernie so freaking much. He paved the way for like what we have right now. Like we would not have Yang for Bernie, for Trump, and for just Yang being Yang, like him and his background and his knowledge and his wisdom. And it's just sad that like so many Bernie supporters are like, well, like you guys just want like for it to like gang. We're like, you guys just want your hand out. Like you guys are like bullshit. Libertarian horse. Yeah.
How does a federal jobs guarantee program Bernie supporters? Yes, you'll get Medicare for all, but that's not going to help my mom out that much immediately. And think of all the other whiplash that's going to cause in a lot of other areas in the markets and all that. Listen, my mom can't work 40 hours a week, even if the job pays $15 an hour. It's impossible. So what's your answer to me with Bernie's policy? And even at that, Yang's going to match most of Bernie's social programs, plus $1,000 a month on top of that, plus flushing out lobbyist influence. Does Bernie have a plan to flush out lobbyist influence? Does Bernie have democracy dollars?
Yeah, exactly. I know, like a lot of people's contention is with, the welfare system and how all of a sudden people are like SNAP champions and they think that SNAP is like the best system ever. And it's like, wait a minute, whoa. Now we're going to pretend that like our welfare system is like good and we should not touch it at all. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love how this campaign is exposing all the people that are like, that they don't know. They probably have never been like poor before. They probably don't know anybody that's poor. In fact, like it's classism at its finest. That's really what it is. You know, we see poor people as people that don't deserve, that they can't handle money or they can't handle responsibility. They don't want to work, and that's just totally not even true. And I love that a lot of people that support Yang or even support UBI, even if you don't support Yang, like we realize that it's not even just about like, oh, whether you deserve the money, is that we literally need this because of automation, or else we're going to start freaking out, like breaking into like Walmarts and shit. And
have you seen how crazy Americans get when shit hits the fan? Like we are like number one. We will like just
we love it.
Hands and just chucking it at windows. Like, you know, that is exactly the amazing point. It's that UBI isn't just a handout, it isn't just free money. First of all, we're attacking the companies that are taking the jobs, but we're not killing these companies either. That's the whole point. Hell, again, like Yang said, UBI would probably help out Bezos. It will help out everyone. It's going to help the rich maybe a bit, but you know how much it's going to help the bottom 10% of people? Oh my God, it will be just a complete game changer. So where is the argument for like, it's a libertarian Trojan horse policy. It's going to only help the rich and kill off the poor. Why are you now a champion, like you said, of these programs that punish you for trying to get ahead? That is what these programs do. So that's the math, man. It's the math. Just look at the numbers. That's all I got to say. But then, you know, if I bring this attitude, then they'll just say, oh, you're just
you're freaking out. And you're, you're just.
Have you seen Bernie's eyes when Bernie is like his eyes are about to pop out of his head. Like some shit. I mean, like, you know, again, I love Bernie. I would just, you know. But I'm sorry. It just frustrates me so much with this cognitive dissonance that people have because they're still
that's what it's called.
From 15, 16.
Yeah, I was trying to figure. That was the word that I was trying to figure out, like in our last meeting. I'm like, what is it called? Cognitive dissonance, or something like that.
Yeah. It might not be the best phrase, but whatever. Message delivered. Message delivered is the point.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Boy, and again, like I want them to get their $1,000 too. Like that's the beautiful thing. Like you're gonna. Yeah.
Donald Trump will have $1,000 extra a month. I mean, well, actually, no, we'll see what happens with Trump. But, I'm just worried though, like what is going to happen this election cycle if Trump has a great chance versus a lot of other people that are running on the Democratic ticket. And if we get one of those people and they actually end up beating Trump somehow, what are we going to do? What changes are going to be brought that you can tell me policy-wise, and how are you going to pass this? Yang talks about how you pass UBI. For example, Alaska, deep red state, they love the dividend. Milton Friedman, and when you get Milton Friedman, Thomas Paine, and Martin Luther King all supporting the same idea, and then a deep red state takes advantage of that idea, and you're making the argument that the people on the right are going to be like, oh, this is all terrible. No, you've got to give them the math on why this is going to work the way Yang is proposing it.
Yeah, this is a lot of corporate media's fault because
oh my gosh, yeah,
they've really characterized conservatives in a really just poor way,
ostracized them. They've completely ostracized them and said these people are evil. Don't talk to them. If you have a Trump supporter next door, it's they're terrible. And it's no, they were frustrated. I would say a majority of Trump supporters, the reason they voted for Trump wasn't because they were really happy about electing a guy that says grab him by the pussy. It's the fact that it's a political hand grenade in the system. They're just pull the pin and see what happens. And that echoes the frustration of how horridly halted our political discussions have come in this country. We're run by so many other masters. It's we've just forgotten our base humanity.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't know if I've told you this, but pretty much most people know that I guess I could be, before even Trump, I guess I was technically registered Democrat, but really ideologically, I don't know. I was more I don't really care. Maybe like liberal on the liberal side because I mean I'm like pro-choice. I'm bisexual myself, so like obviously gay rights, all that fun stuff. But other than that, like I'm pretty, I don't know, like I guess before Yang, now that I have the perspective of Yang, like I am more of a problem solver. I am very much like, I don't agree with, white guilt or like white people, if they're struggling, then they deserve it, or like, I don't know. I don't agree with like keeping people divided in that sense. And I can empathize with a lot of people that are conservative, because a lot of people that are liberal, they are really the ones that are pushing through this divisiveness. And again, that's due to a lot of corporate media, because they know that if we keep these people going at each other, whether it be abortion, whether it be gay marriage, whether it be like anything else, women's rights or whatever, then we have the power to like, distract them further from the real issues, which is, whether it be our economy, healthcare, education, those are the real issues that we have to be focusing on. And I guess before Trump, I kind of got that sense of like, wait a minute, why are we talking about like, of course, like stuff like, like social issues are important, but you just got that sense that like, something's not right here. I don't really, especially I was like a senior in high school, didn't really want to go to college. I really wanted to be an artist myself, wanted to create, wanted to travel and stuff, but I didn't really see a way for me to do that in a sense. Like, I didn't feel like, like my society was really like there for me. So I was like, fuck it. I voted for Bernie in the primaries. When he didn't get it, I was like, fuck you, I am not voting for Hillary, no way. So I voted for Trump because I was like, I can't do it.
But the thing is, you hesitated saying that because there has been so much shaming for that. And that is like something that, well, hold on, like I'm just saying that is a common issue. Maybe not you personally, like, but it's like, I have seen so many people that are afraid to say, yeah, I did vote for Trump because I was so frustrated. And you have every right in the world to be frustrated. Do I have to go back to Donna Brazil? Do I have to go back to the DNC and all that and their just cooperation with, like just Hillary's campaign and all that? It's not a conspiracy theory when you've got facts out there. Like remember when the WikiLeaks emails came out? I was all like, holy crap, these guys they have a track record of publishing 100%. Like they never had to redact something that WikiLeaks has ever published. And then suddenly, once Hillary loses the election to Trump, WikiLeaks is a Russian operative. What? That is what it just screwed with my mind so much, is that everyone went into this just excuse factory on why Trump won. And we've literally been in this theater for like 3 years, and then Yang comes around and I'm like, finally.
Finally.
But like, I'm not trying to say that like, I'm not going to get into some argument about like how Russia interfered and stuff. First of all, what that should say is our system doesn't protect itself enough. But that doesn't mean that it's purely the Russians that elected Trump. I think that is the most far-fetched thing, that is just a blanket cover-up of why people are actually truly frustrated. Wages have been going down like since the 70s. Our work output has been going up, and that's a trend, and it's been going that way. And now you're even seeing like the arguments from Trump people now, which is kind of odd, that it's like, oh, I don't want these handouts and all that. And it's like, these lazy people need to work harder. And it's like, dude, America's work output has been going up, and our wages have not been going up.
Exactly.
So where's your argument? And this, again, we've got another reason, automation, and that is the fourth major industrial revolution that is going to displace and pretty much eradicate so many sectors of human labor in the work field. So that's why Fred's a part of this, whole thing. It's like, hey, I'm not just going to scream and shout for my truck. I'm going to do something about it. I need to find a way that I can connect with someone that is talking about my issues and my upcoming problems in the coming years. I mean, I don't even want to fast forward If Yang didn't exist, and if we just press the fast forward button 5 years, that makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, but we have the statistics. We have the math. We thought harder about this subject, and we can prove all of this to you guys. Just go on Yang's website, and if that doesn't do it for you, go on Twitter, type in the hashtag Yang, or put hashtag Yang Gang in your tweet, and put up a general question. I guarantee you, you're going to get the most informed, the most positive, the most engaged and loving responses out of anyone that's running right now. You know, that's just where I'm at. And it's like, we got to connect that message. That's why we're talking about, you know, Sergey and these punk shows, me and these techno shows. We got to find another avenue, and we got to keep expanding in every avenue that we can, because we are going up right now in the polls. Hate the polls, but we're going up. Name recognition is becoming less of a problem. It still is a problem for Yang, but once we're on that fall debate stage, it's go time. You know, it is like it is militaristic Yang. It's military industrial dividend time. You know, I mean, like we've got to just go all out on this, and I don't know what is going to happen with Williamson, what's going to happen with Gabbard. We'll see. And I wish both of them the best of luck. But I have a weird feeling that it's going to come down to Yang being the kind of the commander-in-chief for this new wave of change that we've desperately needed for decades upon decades in America. So that's my big point about Yang. It's just, please, just Google Andrew Yang. But don't click on the freaking Fox articles, the CNN articles, the MSNBC. I mean, sometimes they'll be informative somewhat, but really look up Yang talking himself. You know, Google Andrew Yang, go on the Joe Rogan podcast, Freakonomics, you know, Hot 97.
I will say that I love that. Fox has been actually pretty freaking unfair to Yang.
What is going on?
I know, right? It's just like we're just going upside down. It's true. Like I'm really shocked about. I guess I am, but I'm not. Again, like conservatives have a really bad reputation of like, oh, they're just like homophobic, racist, like sexist people, and it's like no, a lot of conservatives just are. You know, I love how Problem Solver Politics. If you guys know them on Twitter or on YouTube, like I think Cardin, the host, I think he classified as conservative, but maybe like more so like just progressive or independent. But he grew up conservative, definitely. He said that, yeah, a lot of us, you know, we do hold, you know, traditional values to our heart, but then like we also want to solve problems, and that's true for both sides of the field too. Like liberals want to solve problems too, you know, like we go about it in a really idealistic way, which I think is wrong. I think that, you know, we do have to go a more, in a sense, conservative way of just focusing on how can we help people just freaking survive and get their basic needs met. And then we can, it's like the what's it, like the Maslow's like hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Then we can go up to like the fluffy stuff that, you know, that
the fun stuff. Yeah. The ideal, like Americana. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All the ideal Americana is, if I had to sum it up for someone that doesn't really know too much about Yang, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to do something? Are you trapped right now in a job? Are you really stuck right now and you kind of don't feel like I can be an artist, I can do this or that? Well, that's our goal. We just want to give people the means to pursue what makes them happy. What makes me happy is doing like the photo, visual media, all that stuff. And if I had the means to just do that and not really worry too much that I'm going to be evicted or something if I don't get enough clients, I just want to be able to do what I love to do and contribute that skill. Because I mean, I'm a better photographer than the average Joe. I'd at least hope so if I have an LLC for it.
You're great.
But the point is that like, I just want to be able to do that. And that's my ideal spot, you know? So what's in my way in the system right now is in my way, you know? And it's not a matter of being lazy. It's just a matter of channeling what you truly want to do with your life. And that is the whole prime message about redefining what work is with Yang. You know, we have so much potential here with this guy. So much.
I mean, and guys, don't even feel bad because I'm in that same position as well. Like I decided to stay with my mother because I'm like I can't afford to like live on my own. Like I live in Delaware. It's pretty, and where I'm like not right now. Like we moved closer to like downtown Wilmington, which is a bit more affordable, but still like I grew up in a pretty like suburban like college town area. Like if you're gonna get an apartment, like it's gonna be at least 1,000. They're screaming, they're watching stuff. But if you're gonna get an apartment, like it's at least $1,000 a month at least. And it's like okay, that's not an option for me, so I'm just gonna stay with my parents. And that was really a hard pill for me to swallow, but I'm like, listen, I'll just hustle. I will take a cashier job, and then I will do a lot of my art on the side, do as much creative stuff, test things out. My ultimate goal, I don't know, maybe I would want to do like movies, maybe be director, maybe work in music. Like I love K-pop. Like that is, I have so many different things I potentially would like to do, but I am still strapped financially because I'm just focusing on just eating right now, like making sure like I can help my mom pay for like our place.
Mm-hmm.
Hard for me to like do like oh my god, like, if I had the freedom dividend, dude, like it would be a game changer for me personally, and that's why I fight so hard for this campaign, because I know that me and so many other people are in that position as well, where we know what to do. It's just a matter of getting the resources into our hands in order to do what we have to do. And you're a great photographer, by the way, so props to you.
Esther Baldwin was like teasing me on my profile or whatever, saying it's like, oh, White House photographer, ? And I'm like, slow down.
Like,
all I want to be able to do is take pictures that look nice and be able to live off of it. Just be able to have a night out, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to do like a half an 8-ball like every night, like get out of here. No, I'm responsible here. It's just, I just want the means to live on my own and to not have to worry so much. So that's what the UBI does. It takes the financial boot off of your throat, and that's it. Like when I heard UBI and I was like down here my first like couple of months, just moved out, and I'm paying, at that time it was like $740 or something for like a pretty decently sized apartment. It had its problems, trust me, and I don't want to go into those problems because God knows. But still, when I thought of it, it was like, well, hold on, if I get a UBI, yeah, technically I could sit on my ass, but that means that I'd have to be eating ramen every night and like wearing the same clothes. I wouldn't have money, like, so there still is an incentive to work. And then, but that incentive changes from having to begrudgingly take a cashier job, which I've done before, to, okay, no, I want to put all my time into the art, or all the time into what I want to do. So I don't see UBI of $1,000 a month is actually like pretty conservative.
dude, it's so generous. Like people don't know that we actually really like we could do, and we will do more because of inflation and everything like that.
We'll have to match some parts, yeah.
But I mean, like it is very generous. We're like, you guys don't know how much Google and Netflix and Amazon really have.
They are growing so exponentially in wealth and power, because again, wealth is power in this country, and that's where we, the citizens, need to step in and say, hey, no, I don't care how successful you were. That doesn't mean you can dictate the policy that directs our lives. And that, I think, everyone can agree with, right? Right? Come on.
Did you see the Great Hack?
The what? I'm sorry?
It's a Netflix documentary. It's called The Great Hack.
I have not.
Okay, that's totally fine. My road trip buddy, Andrew Hector, remember him? Yeah, he was like obsessed with that thing. And we watched, me, Rob, and Andrew, we watched it on the road trip. And it explained a lot of kind of what you touched on before on how, how Trump won. But it was a mix of like Cambridge Analytica, and then also it was a mix of they targeted what they called the persuadables, people that were on the either extreme on any political spectrum, but they got people that were like, you know, whether it be like, you know, independent people, or whether it be like, you know, people that just could vote for Trump. They targeted those people, and and Trump like invested like, I don't know, like $1 million a day into digital media and market, compared to I think Hillary, where I think she did like maybe 60,000 in digital media marketing. It was a combination of a lot of things. But why the heck did I even bring that up?
Well, it's speaking to that populace. That's the sway vote, right? So it's like the people, and I'll make the argument, those people are like a lot of Americans, most Americans are financially scared shitless right now.
Yes.
So when they hear drain the swamp, again, Trump got the problems right. His solutions weren't right though. Problems right? Great. Yang, problems right? Great. Now we go to the solution page. Trump, let's roll the clock back. Let's bring back these coal jobs, these industry jobs. Dude, there isn't much future in those. And that's what Yang's talking about. And everyone's like, he's a futurist. He's a futurist. No, he's kind of a presentist. Yang wants to just get the problems, make the road a little more paved for the future, man. And Trump isn't, I have not seen something where he's been doing that. You know, we've you know, some people might get like $20 more back in their tax return. Great. But at what cost? Then that's when you got to think harder. Think about where the cuts are going. Think about who's really getting way ahead. And then what that is going to have a result on in the future. You know, that's just what I'm worried about is like these people, they're being appeased right now just like a little bit. Just getting barely a little nibble enough to eat and still support Trump. Wait 5 years from now. Wait 10 years from now. We're all GDP. We're going to ride that off of a cliff. We are going to because what we mean by that, the social programs that keep people living in this country, keep people working obscene amounts of hours a week. People are just going to. You know, I didn't even mean to flip that over, but
it's like mass shootings. Like, why do you think this is happening so much? People are like, I don't know what to do. First of all, we already have an overpopulation problem. So like, in theory, I can understand why a person is like,
oh boy,
like
a little dark,
but listen, like I have empathy for that. Like I have no interest in killing anybody, but I understand that like if our economy is just shrinking so much and like our opportunity for work and just what like you said, what is even work, if that's shrinking, I can see where a person would be like, I don't like, what is even the point in all of this? Like that is like a serious like mental state.
It's mental, and the fact that guns are pretty objectively too loose right now. And a lot of it, you know, there's the statistic that if you got a gun in the house and you got kids in the house, you're actually in more danger. Yeah, you can make the argument, well, I'm a responsible parent. I keep it up in the safe. But once your kid turns 13, he's going to get into that safe, all right? So the point is here, why not? Okay, so now they're saying, well, I don't want you to take my guns. We're not going to with Yank. We're actually going to first, we have like a 3-step program with that. We've got, we're going to offer full gun buybacks so we can decrease the amount of guns out there, the loose guns. We are going to offer free upgrades to your guns. So if you've got a gun, if you've got a Glock, you've got whatever for self-defense or just for fun, we're going to have a system in there, and this technology exists that Yang is saying would be the smart thing to fund. Only your fingerprint, only you can fire that. So your kid can't get it and then start going pow, pow, pow. And then on top of that too, it's like we've got to wash out the influence of these big organizations. You know, I mean, the NRA and stuff, it's not the matter of the 2A argument anymore. It's the fact that they're spending so much in influencing certain people in our political process. They have tons of money. So how do you do that? Democracy dollars. You flush out the influence of that. So we've got the way to really drain the swamp without taking your guns.
No, I haven't.
It's all right to me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like I didn't go. It's so interesting. I didn't grow up like. I guess I grew up pretty like in I didn't grow up with anybody that had a gun. Like that's not even. I don't plan on having one at all. But I have a friend that like he does because of this security reason. He's like, if I live alone, like I need to feel safe. So it's like, I think what you just said was brilliant. I have never even thought about, which sound like it sounds so like movie-esque, but like having a custom gun that like only you can trigger, that is like fingerprint, like lockable or unlockable, like that is like brilliant, because we should have that anyways, because it's freaking cool.
It's not science fiction. The technology exists today. That is the point that we gotta make. Dude, out taking your guns. We're not gonna take your guns.
I know, and like the buyback is like, yeah, some people are like, yeah, I'd use the extra money. I have 20 guns. I think I can let one of them go. Like literally, like some people just collect them for fun, and like that's just their thing. But maybe like they wanna, I don't know, like they find something else they want to spend their money on, or they want to save some, or like maybe they're like getting older and they're like, oh, what even is the point? I'll get my guns away, whatever. Like I don't know, like people are more reasonable than we give them credit for. So. Yes. I just appreciate Yang for giving people at least the choice to, not just saying, what the left has done so much is like, okay, like take them away, like they're killing everybody and they don't give a shit about us. And it's like, no, that's not correct. That is an over exaggeration. You're just trying to freaking get your views, and like you're just.
I hear you. Yeah.
I know oh my God, that really grinds my gears, but yeah, man, that's why I have so much faith in this campaign, because like there's so many people that don't know like how fast things are moving, and yeah, like it is unfortunate that a lot of like the boomers and stuff, they're like, well, he's never gonna win. Like we're getting a lot of them, but still, like a lot.
What did the left say about Trump when he? Yeah. No, you guys can't use that argument against us, all right? Like, you just can't. Like, Trump was an absolute nobody. Everyone made fun of him, and then he surged. Granted, Trump had a lot more money to pour into it from get-go, but still, yeah.
Yeah. Even my mom, she loves Obama. I don't really care. I mean, Obama's whatever. I didn't really care for him that much, but I understand why people love him. But even she's like, she's a boomer as well, and she's like, when I talked to her about Yang, she's like, yeah, it is true that like they did say the same thing about Obama. Like he did win. Like it blew my mind that he won. So it could be the same for Yang. She's not on the Yang gang yet. I'm working on it, but
I'm 2 for 2 with my parents right now, so I've got some good stats. Catch up.
Man, you're doing the do. I love it. But yeah, like at least he's like, listen, it could happen, and like, oh my God, dude.
Well, like, what's her main like reason against it right now, or like, what's her is it? Because it can't just come down to electability, because the electability argument, just please, can we throw that collectively out the window right now? It's anything goes, really.
Honestly, I don't even know. Like she's kind of like after Trump got elected, she just kind of like turned off. Like very just like I can't even think about politics anymore because it's too different thing. So she's
political theater, yeah.
Yeah. So she has a problem with trusting anybody really in who's running at all. Which I get it. Like she's not. She goes on YouTube and watches like Hot Ones and stuff, but like she's not in the trenches like we are, and she doesn't really know the political atmosphere. So I understand that she doesn't know that Yang, even though he is very much an outsider, he's not like he's so different from like Biden, but she sees him as this another person that is running, and she's not a big fan of UBI because she's also part of that. Well, it probably. People probably won't work as much and all that stuff. And I tried to explain to her about automation.
Statistics. I know. Statistics.
I know, dude. That's what I know. But I am like, okay, when the field, mainly me and my mom and my dad, they're really just focusing on when the herd thins out, then they'll focus more on it. Right now, there are a lot of people that are like, I'm not trying to like watch these debates. It's so ridiculous. So that's why, like, that's another reason why I have a lot of faith. It's like, okay, like Yang is gonna shine a lot in September, and especially October, when hopefully like 10 people like bounce after that, or at least bounce after September. Because it's just gonna be too expensive to run. Like at this point, like you guys are really stretching it with your money, like trying to invest in this. I mean, you can say the same thing for Yang. Yang is stretching it, but Yang has so much freaking momentum and so much popularity. Like he has so much like street cred at this point.
Yes.
And,
turkey leg. Turkey leg.
Dude, I love that meme culture is back. I love that, you know, like everybody knows Gift Shinobi, and like he's like the lord of all memes at this point for Yang. Like I love that he's going on H3. Like I was a fan of H3 for the longest time, and I was like, oh my God, like
we got Ethan. Screw Elon, we got Ethan. You know,
like, of course, like a boomer's not gonna understand like how big of a deal that is, because that audience that H3 has is getting at the people that don't vote, the people that are disengaged. And again, like that is the biggest block of people that, you know, can sway this election, either or. So if we got those people, and the younger people too, I mean, there's so many people that I see on Reddit that are like, listen, I'm about to turn 18, I can't wait to vote for Yang. That just warms my heart. Like they're like my little siblings. It's like, I love you guys. Like we got you. If you need anything, like come to us. You know, like if you face any bullies, we'll beat them up for you.
Yang assemble.
Hey, Avengers assemble. Yeah, I love it.
One thing, if you don't mind me riffing off of the H3, that whole culture.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're getting into the gamer market. We'll call it. The online internet culture, going all the way from, let's just say 9gag to 4chan. You know, we're going from surface web, just meme sites, to the depths. And the depths really do exemplify themselves in 4chan and all that culture. But I'll tell you this much. When Trump really started surging in the polls, I wanted to be informed as possible. Trust me, I have learned that, like, you do not want to stay on 4chan too long, just because it is a bunch of like red pill, like you're more pathetic than I am, but I'm really pathetic. So, you know, okay, whatever. You know, it's this big like bullying chamber. But the point is that when they heard about Trump, they were just like, wait, hold on. This guy is literally telling every single other person in front of him to fuck off. That's literally Trump's like move. And then you start seeing in like late 15, this influx of memes, this influx of like all this culture, you know, this meme culture, we'll call it. I hate calling it, God, I know I'm going to have some people just rolled their eyes. But hear me out. The whole point is, this is what I've talked with Nate about. And right now, everything is kind of devolved into this. We did it. We elected Trump. It's like, well, you didn't solo elect Trump. Trump's money and Trump's like Trump branding elected Trump. But anyways, sure, you guys helped out a little bit. Yang announces half of that base splits off to Yang. What does that mean? Gamers, they don't vote. They don't give a shit. They just want to stir the pot, and they never want to lick the spoon. So we're at this point now where it's like, I'm seeing, you know, and 4chan has definitely devolved in recent years to a lot more dog whistly, Naziist kind of, you know, propaganda. And then if you confront them about it, they're like, oh, dude, I'm just being ironic. I'm just trolling. Dude, you're on that site like 12 hours a day. You are in the echo chamber. The Fourth Reich or whatever how you want to call it. But the point is that why are they this way? That's the question I want to ask. And I will propose they feel like they got left behind. They feel like they're looking up at the ceilings and they're saying, oh my God, this is a complete shit show. How the hell am I going to make it in this life? I will shit post. That's the one thing I know how to do. I'm going to shit post everywhere. And that's what they do. And that's how they get their camaraderie. And when I saw that split of, you know, one of the most like alt-right boards off to Yang, it wasn't the fact that they're trying to bring alt-right into Yang. It was the fact that they were seeing Yang as a sensible solution. And they were seeing him as like, oh, this guy is actually not an extremist. He's not trying to say that, like, this violence on both sides type of thing and trying to like equate Nazi behavior with people getting upset at that. So at this point, we've got a huge market of people, and this is what Nate and I talked about, is that, actually I'm going to bring up Clown Pepe. Clown World, you've probably seen it before, it's Pepe the Frog, but with a rainbow wig and a red clown nose. And granted, it has seen some very dark corners, like school shooting, oh, honk, honk. But it's like, that is how I'm not kidding, that's where we're at right now. And they're bringing up a decent point. It's like, well, yeah, fuck, no one cares, honk, honk. And it's like, oh my gosh, these guys, like, yes, they're very, very hard to have a conversation with sometimes. But the point is that what they're upset about is very similar to what a lot of us are upset about. So with that being said, come join us, come fight with us, because Yang is the outsider candidate here. And if we don't get this guy elected, we're fucked. And that right there is what Fred and I talked about too, is if you get this other just suit and tie kind of politician, what's going to happen with like the hyper militarized Trump base? It's going to just devolve into more conflict and more blaming. So now we got a guy that's saying, fuck left, fuck right. Let's just go forward and fix the problems. Why aren't we doing that? We've been needing to do that for so many years. And that is where I'm getting like all these friend requests from all these clown pepes. And I'm not accepting a lot of them because I dig through the profile and they're like, oh God, they go deep into the conspiracy field. But again, what I'm trying to say here, you guys are still human. People have ostracized you as being not human, just as though normal Trump supporters have been ostracized from participating in any type of political discussion. People are struggling. Yang understands that, and we have got to get the financial boot off people's throats. We've got to take a smart approach to the gun control issue, not one that's just like, oh, take them all away or let them all loose. You got to find the agreeable middle ground that you can get passed through Congress. That is what Yang can do. And then if we get all these non-voters now participating in their local elections, we can, as the people, drain the swamp. So all these talking points, they coincide with one another. It's not a left, it's not right, it's forward. I'm going to say that until my mouth falls.
It's a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, I just, my heart aches for these kids that are just going to the point where they're actually rationalizing that, well, at least I can help out the depopulation effort by shooting up my school. It's like, dude, really? Like, that's your solution? But I get why you're so pressed to an extent, but like, yeah, we don't have
it's a lot
for you to actually think, like, to the mental health, the loose approach to guns right now. I mean, like, it's a very complex issue, but go to yang2020.com/policies and dig into these things. Please just read it, think harder about it, because Christ, who else do we have? Biden? Harris?
Yeah. For me, I hate reading, so I just watch YouTube, but and that works too.
Hey, that's what we're doing right now, right? We're giving them what they want.
Yeah. Boy, so many things. I have never even logged into Fortnite. I know of it pretty well, but yeah, that's the one thing that really annoyed me when Yang first started getting on, like MSNBC and CNN and even Fox. They would always bring up the 4chan situation.
Because they're trying to say, no, we're just going to ruin this guy's credibility. Just like that, he'll be done.
Yeah. It actually empowered us, because it's like, okay, now we see your true colors. Like, we now know that you guys, because anybody with a sensible mind, if you spend any sizable time with Yang, even like 30 to an hour, you just naturally like him. Like, he's so freaking likable and he's so reasonable, and so we know that, okay, if you're trying to besmirch his credibility by saying that, oh, this one group of people like you, well, that means that you're full of shit. First of all, like you said before, a lot of people on these websites just do not, they're trying to express themselves in some way. Like human beings, we naturally want to express ourselves. It's just a matter of in what way. So so I can understand from a creative perspective that you want to find a group of people that feel as alone and as, you know, ostracized as you do. I know. 4chan.
Yeah, 4chan's coming to my place. I got docs. But I thought this call was secure. Alyssa, what are you doing?
No. Yeah. So yeah. I for me it kind of is like, oh wow. Like for me it's even more creditable that like 4chan is interested in Yang, and the memes that I was seeing were very like were really funny and clever. They weren't mean-spirited at all. So that gave me a sense like, oh no, like these people on 4chan, like I already knew this, but like it just like confirmed that, you know, these people understand like how fucked up things are, but the fact that they can see that Yang is being he's being reasonable and he's actually trying to help other people, they connect, they know that, and they connect with that, and they're like, oh wait, I get this guy.
Yep.
Of course they're gonna be like zany and weird and like all that stuff, which I personally love. I just love weird people in general, but
they're creative. They are creative, I'll give them that.
Yeah, like we need those people. Like we need everybody. And I hate that you a corporation, a media corporation can be so cold that like, no, that group of people, we shouldn't accept them in our society.
They're bad people. Do not talk to them. This has been Chris Cuomo prime time. Big Tapper. Hi, I'm God, and I trust me. Hey, if anyone like literally that's just like an active shit poster on Poll, on B, on any page, even R9K, Jesus Christ, I'm even extending an arm to them. The point is, we hate the mainstream media too. We know that it is all political theater. Watch Yang's closing remarks in Detroit from the Detroit debates. And he's literally saying, we're wearing makeup on our faces. These are rehearsed attack lines. We're participating in political theater right now. Even Bernie has been interviewed on Joe Rogan, and he's like, yeah, it's terrible. Like right now, we don't have time to talk. We don't actually have time to send our message. It's like, oh, we got to go take a quick commercial break after Harris sends a zinger towards Biden.
And guess who's buying the ads? These freaking like these healthcare companies that are fucking us over.
This man, it's so ridiculous. It's like it's a madhouse. And again, that's where I see the connection of things like that. The clown Pepe. I mean, Crazy, back in the day, Pepe was like, I was like so actually like heartbroken in the 15 cycle when I saw that an internet meme that like literally if you trace back the origins of like Pepe and stuff, he was like the feels good man and feels bad man, like frog expression of like childhood expression of like, that makes me feel good, that makes me feel sad. But then Pepe got frustrated, he put on a balaclava and he got like a desert eagle in his hand. And yeah, that's edgy and kind of creative. But then it starts getting into all these different like sects and these different interpretations of it. And then the mainstream media gets a hold of that. Look up the interview on CNN when the whole like 4chan was first mentioned on them in the 15 cycle. And they were literally, this is how they worded it. So who is this 4chan hacker? They didn't realize that it was a site. They didn't do any research. They didn't do anything. They just saw, oh my God, I Googled 4chan and it said something about Nazis and now I'm scared. And it's like, dude, you are thinking, but again, that's what the main result is from all these people hearing about 4chan. They're going to Google 4chan. They're going to see the CNN article saying that these are evil people. And that's how it works. It's a cycle of entertainment. And it's a cycle of this, like, we've got to be scared of this guy. We got to be scared of that group. Listen, we're all human beings. We're all in America. You know, we're all pretty much, I would say everyone at this table that are talking, we're all American citizens. And we all have a vote in this country. That's the last thing that we actually can, you know, militarize. And that's what we should be doing. And we got to do it in a unified way. You know, like this unity campaign that Hillary went on after the DNC screwed over Bernie, I was so disgusted by it. You're talking about unity when you were literally oh God, here we go, the Clinton emails. published by WikiLeaks, by the way, which are 100% reputable, that never had to redact a story. But again, it's all this propaganda. It's all the Russians. It's all this and that. Please, for the love of God, just do a little more of your own research. But here's the kicker. You don't have time to. You've got to be at your 9 to 5. You've got to put food on your table. And that is the place that we're at right now. We're in this desperate, desperate state of trying to make our voices heard while these corporate bastards just walk all over us. And I'm not just trying to say all corporations are bad. I'm just saying the ones that run your information intake, they're pretty dishonest. They're pretty sensationalist. They care more about the clicks than more about the info.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I have to get that out on some type of a call.
This is a healing place. It's okay.
Yang gang love. We're all about that yang gang love.
Yeah, no, like I said, like this, when we all were, when we did our first meeting, this is like more of a free for all. Like, of course, we have our points and we have our stuff that we need to talk about and our programs and whatever. But really, it's just like just talking and just connecting. That, like, oh my God, this is why I love Sergey's mall idea so freaking much, because obviously, like, Yang has talked about, what should we do?
Yeah, the mall act and revitalize it. But then Sergey's like, okay, here's the details on how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, Sergey, look at you.
Dude, I'll after this, I'll upload that whole, we literally were on the call for like 2 hours. Like, and I recorded it all. At first, Rob was there, me and Sergey and Rob. Rob had to go to sleep. He's in like Dublin right now. So it was like,
oh shit.
Where he was. I know Rob is everywhere. But he had to go to sleep. But me and Sergey went on for like hours. And I had the biggest uncontainable smile on my face when he explained to me this idea. Because first of all, I kind of already, I guess, like, I said this to him, like, when I was young, like, actually, like, one of my closest family members actually wanted to be an architect. And I used to, like, draw out, like, these, like, bird's eye view, like buildings of, like, amusement parks or, like, just, like, crazy places where people can, like, have fun and, like, come together. Like, that's kind of always been in the back of my mind, to have that sense of community. Growing up, like, I'm more of, like, traditional millennial. Like, I grew up on, like, that computer was just handed to me, so I was just on the computer playing video games, and I love that. Like, I love, like, now I'm a gamer and stuff. But, like, I definitely did miss out on, like, really having that sense of community in my area, especially since, like, I grew up in an all-white place, like an all-white neighborhood. That was extremely hard for me to, like, be accepted there. And then because, as you could probably tell from my personality, like, I act white, so a lot of Black people, especially in my family, didn't really understand me and didn't know how to connect with me either. So I kind of felt like, okay, I guess I'm on my own now. Like, that's why I can empathize with people that also feel that way as well, whether it be on 4chan or whatever. Like, I really do get it. And having this mall situation, I call it, it's not even a situation, it's a booth idea, but I'm just being dramatic. Having this mall idea is freaking what we need, because it's, first of all, taking, like, consumerism out of the equation. Like, I love how he's like, okay, if you want, to get food, like, like, you can bring it in, of course, but, like, we're not gonna, like, sell you anything. We're not gonna have, like, a bunch of, like, clothing stores in here. We're gonna have a place where you can, go to your Kindle library and, have fun there, or your concert and go to a concert, go there, play laser tag, go there, like, all this stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, and, like, have it virtually dirt cheap. Like, just for, first of all, it would be mind-blowing for our younger kids and our younger generation.
Oh my God, I could only imagine going to, like, the new Sergey Mall. It's like Yang X Sergey Mall, and it's just like, oh my God, this is great. I'm actually having fun here. I'm excited to go here, and I don't got to keep bugging my mom for another $5, $10, $15, $20. It's like, this is all community, and that is what I love about it and what we need. So we can have but we can have a place where we can all interact. We can see each other face to face, and that's Oh, by the way, I'll share this quickly, just on the screen. This is the moment. so to speak, of Sergey. You can see it, right?
Oh.
That was the moment that he was like proposing the whole like idea and shit. And like, this is like literally him, and just like,
oh my God.
this is like Nate and all of them, just like listening on. We were drunk as shit, but it still clicked. I'm sorry, I just had to share that. Like,
don't be sorry. When was that taken?
Let me get you the date on it. I'll be very scientific.
Yeah.
That was 7:31. So, I remember. So this was after we went out to the Magic Stick out here, and we like Fred came out, everyone came out, Sola, Jeff, all of them, and we all hung out, drank, listened to some Detroit like techno, and then we all went back kind of to my place, and that's when Sergey was like, "Hey guys, I have an idea," and I kind of like told John about like, this is what the mall act is like, and we're trying to like revitalize this negative retail space and this, just negative space in general. And we're trying to fill it in with all of these new ideas. And the fact that Sergey was pitching this and we've got federal funding for an idea like this, we don't need too much. We just need enough to let the community build it the way they see fit. Each community, each mall can be so different. It doesn't all have to be laser tag. It can all be, yeah, exactly. So it's just the thing I love about the mall act of Yang is it's saying we have to do something about these spaces. We're not just going to bulldoze them and like say, screw it. We can actually revitalize them and make them a community space, which we so desperately need in the modern day.
Yeah, for sure. He actually gave me the name of what he would like this place to be, and the name would be Let's Go. So when he explained it to me, say for instance, like, you have a friend coming in from out of your town, and like that friend's like, okay, where should we go to hang out or whatever? You'd be like, let's go. And they're like, wait, what? He's like,
no, dude, let's go.
And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? So like, and that's just such like a bold name. It's so simple. He's great with names, by the way. Like that, like his tour name, The Higher Ground. I love that too. I'm freaking blown away by that guy. I am like, listen, dude, like, any way I can freaking help make this shit happen, let's freaking do it. I'm all about it. Oh my God. Again, that's why I'm doing stuff like this, like to get that out there.
It's necessary.
Like make people aware, and then hopefully we can, just continue to build and build and build. And like, first interested in whatever, they can contact any of us, and we'll slowly get it together. Like we're everywhere. The grassroots is everywhere. We're doing a lot of stuff, but trust me, that's one thing that I'm really glad that like Yang is having this like slow but steady rise. Like obviously he's getting his props from like Elon Musk is big and like this and that, Anderson Cooper show, but it's still very steady, which is super interesting. But I like it. I like how like we're
fall
not
debates. Wait till those fall debates. I'm telling you.
Oh my God. I saw like Houston. I mean anywhere like Houston is the freaking place where it's gonna pop off.
I'm excited. I actually do want to do a road trip down there. Like I really do want to just bring a Yang Gang army into Houston and just say, listen, we want to make America think harder. That's it.
We're gonna tear that town apart. Me and Rob are already we're gonna set up kind of like an event, or again, this has to do with our Yang Gang media project. We're also kind of want to do like a YangCon event, like where we get a lot of the creatives and like together. Maybe we can like share like a hostel or Airbnb. Yeah, we can just shoot the shit. Like, man, stuff's in the works. But you're definitely invited. Like, I think we're gonna like. I know Andrew, the person that we did the road trip with. I think he's gonna fly in because he's like, I can't. Like, we had a lot of fun, but he's like tired. He did a lot of freaking driving, dude. Like that guy.
I gotta check out the drive. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Here we go. Okay, Houston. Bring me to Houston. All right, here we go. Directions from Detroit. Okay, right from my place. Oh boy, I'm scared.
Let me see.
okay, I'll probably fly.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
It's a 20-hour drive.
holy crap, yeah.
1.3 thousand miles. I mean, hey, I would stop through Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, maybe St. Louis, Memphis, Tennessee, straight through like the random whatever of Arkansas. Oh my God, I didn't know. I forgot that Houston was at South, but then it's like, oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I need to learn about Texas geography. Wow.
Texas is freaking huge.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
I know.
gosh.
So
I love that idea of just doing something like that. And Christ, you know, I'll book my flights like way in advance. I know I'll be able to get in there. And that's something that is really exciting to me, is that I feel comfortable with people that support Yanks. I know that they share so many things in common. You know, like I can, when we shoot the shit, like we can get shit faced and still make sense to one another. And that's pretty crazy. Like that's unprecedented.
No, you guys are like family to me.
I mean, seriously, I have not had this many connections before in my life. I mean, now I'm to the points of like, you know, being mutual friends. Like it literally, you know, how Facebook you're on that, and it's like people you may know. And it's Andrew Yang, his personal profile for mutual friends, and I'm like, huh? You know? Like imagine like Donald Trump's profile, Barack Obama's profile. Get out of here. This is unprecedented. This guy is new to the whole scene, and he's doing it in this way that, I mean, he's
so authentic and so transparent.
He literally got medals and all that. Well, not medal. I don't know about medals, but well, he get awards. And he went to the Obama White House 3 times, and they were all like, "Good for you, Andrew. You're doing the best thing you can, nonprofit, this and that." And he's like, "Yeah, but
not helping shit."
Yes, it's pouring water into a bathtub with a giant hole in the bottom, and now we're here, where it's like the only thing you can do is run for the highest office. And on the H3 interview, my favorite quote, because he drops the, you know, shit bomb 3 times and then says asshole after that. And I was like, yes, thank you for speaking the language of the people. But it's like, yeah, why didn't you run for mayor? You know, you don't have experience. And he's like, I don't have time for that shit. We don't have time for that shit. The country doesn't have time for that shit. And I'm not some asshole that's just saying I'm going to run it, the country just like a business. I understand that it's a whole different system, and I'm ready to step to that front. You know, I'm ready to confront it. And the end quote of Yang's book, War on Normal People, buy it now on Amazon. Give Bezos some of your money. It ends in, come fight with me. I know that you guys are at the point of the end. You know, you guys cannot pay your bills. You guys cannot do that. And that's so true for so many Americans. And he's literally saying, listen, it's not time to run for the hills. It's time to topple it together. Will you come with me? And he extends his arm to you. And that is really, that's a leader of the likes that we haven't seen in so long in America. If you know U.S. history, you know that Andrew Yang is unprecedented.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. It's so under that moment with, I can only imagine like him meeting Obama, is having that level of humility, being like, I know I've done a lot, but it doesn't even compare to like the actual issue at hand. Like having that like that, like, oh my God, like most people don't have that. Mm-hmm. To be like with the freaking sitting president and be like, it's not enough. Like I know. Yeah,
that's pretty bold to not just say, Obama likes me and just ending it right there. No, he's like, actually, I don't want to run a for-profit because there are a lot of, you know, well,
questionable things.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand. Like he did start off with he wasn't in nonprofits when he started. But he had learned. He fell on his face. He admits that. But then he got it right with Manhattan Prep, sold that off, and then he was like, well, I've got another chance to do some stuff. Why not help out the cities? Because he dug into the math. He dug into the statistics. And when he came out to Detroit in 2010, 2011 for the first time, I think 2011, he was like, oh my God, like this is America. Like as Alyssa, look up how Detroit was comparing on the world stage in the year like 1950, 1960. We were literally competing with like some of the top cities, not only in GDP, but just in just advancement and just like all this cool stuff happening. And then Ying comes out here right after, a couple years after the big crash, and he saw what state Detroit was in. I'll tell you this much: 10 years ago, I would not feel safe walking down my street that I live on right now. I genuinely, it's just not. You don't even do it in the first place. It's common knowledge. Don't go to Detroit. And trust me, there was a lot of racism like tied into that. Like, the hard R's took over Detroit like in the 70s. Don't go down there. And it's like, no, actually dig into what really happened here. And oh God, it gets complex. It goes into local corruption. It goes into the land bank issue, where people's like houses are being like foreclosed and then sold off and this or that. And like longtime residents, people that have been living here, raising generations of families in these suburbs, they're being completely auctioned off. And that's everything to do with local government and how they control those things. But we're at this really weird point now where Detroit, actually, fun fact, history lesson for anyone still watching, because this is an hour and 13 into
for sure there's people watching.
But there are some people watching,
We love you.
Thank you. Where I'm at right now, I'm on East Jefferson Avenue in Detroit, Michigan. And my area is called Rivertown, technically. Rivertown, statistically, is #1 in America for the most rapidly gentrified area in Detroit. I moved down here 5 years ago. I'd be locked into maybe like $400 a month for this apartment right now. This apartment right now is $960 a month plus other fees. Yeah. So, it's in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding with the numbers. And if I like showed you like outside, you've got all of these kind of abandoned like barns and factories almost. Like barn factories. It's kind of a really weird. You got those. Most of those are actually abandoned and not in use. But then right next door, you've got these. Granted, they're really pretty houses, but they're like $1,500 a month to stay there. And it's like, dude, no one has the money that's actually like been a long time Detroiter to do that. And that's where you're seeing this exodus of people that have been lifelong Detroiters, and they're just being completely overrun by all these new rich hipsters that are like, well, I've got this, $50,000 trust fund to get me started. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. I mean, coming from a white guy that grew up in white suburbia, I moved down to Detroit because the people down here are still very real. That's
so interesting.
It's what they call Detroit love, and that's what's keeping this city. That's the glue that's keeping this city together right now. Is the fact that people can have honest conversations. No matter. I've had conversations with people that have been homeless in Detroit for literally 30, 40, 50 plus years of their life ongoing, and talking to them while they are a bit disgruntled and a lot of times they've got a few drugs working in their systems. I understand why they're at this point where it's like, at least I'm not going to be completely ostracized and like have these like robots coming around, which in San Francisco is an issue. They got literally like robots that are designed to annoy homeless people to get them to move out.
Oh my God.
Like that hasn't happened here yet. Albeit we have the Lime scooters and the Bird scooters, and those things are like domestic terrorism 101. Like, I swear to God, there's so many people like riding around on those things. But at the same time, it's Detroit. It's such of an odd place. I believe it's still 86.3% black, but the downtown area is mostly white. And that's, you could argue what makes it safe, but then it's like, no. Now you're trying to brand like, the problem is with the blacks. It's like, Jesus goddamn Christ, dude. Like there is so much outside speculation on why Detroit is the way it is. And you'll never actually get a grasp of it until you live down here. And when you live down here, when you walk by someone on the street, no matter what color you are, no matter who you are, you're a human. People will give you the eye contact. Because odds are you'll make eye contact with someone you're walking by on the street, you look at them and just give the nod, you know, and that's just the acknowledgement of, hi, how are you doing? I'm a fellow human being and just out here. And that's like something when I moved down here, what that was so different from where I moved from, which was an hour north. It was like a white suburbia town that's semi-rich, not really rich, but semi-rich. They want to, seem like they're rich. No one eye contact in my hometown was taboo. If you walked by someone on the street, they would purposefully try to not make eye contact with you. And that's coming from a white guy, like it was so sickening just to see like the social disconnect in my hometown and how soulless it was. It's safe there. You've got businesses there. It's soulless though. Detroit has soul. And that is what I love about this city. My first thing that sold me on Detroit was a free jazz festival with Kamasi Washington headlining. And I was just like, dude, free jazz in the middle of this city that's on the up? Like, this is life. I see people here of all ages, of all races, every walk of life, and we're all here for the same reason. We just want to listen to some music. We just want to experience the humanity. And that's something I love that Andrew has acknowledged. He's seen, really from the start of the Renaissance of Detroit, he acknowledges what's going on out here, but he's not willing to forget the people that are being pushed out. And that is why I'm so happy, with just Yang's just effect on Detroit, a nonprofit and all. It's just, yeah, you might be helping out the privileged white kids without it, like a place to go in the industry, but at least you're helping somebody. At least you're helping someone that's commonly college kids, college graduates that are left behind. You're helping that, and you're doing it in a city that is not, it's not going to have the biggest market, but you're still doing it anyways. And he also did it in Baltimore, Cleveland, all these other struggling cities. And that's just why I love Andrew so much. Like, seriously, this guy, you cannot convince me that this guy is like some evil Silicon Valley tech bro. He's talked about that before. He's talked about like the fact that those people are still humans too that are stealing your jobs. Yeah. But they don't feel good about it, but they're still going to do it because it's paycheck's paycheck, and we're all in the scarcity economy.
Oh my God, yes. I think it's so interesting that, you grew up in that environment. Because again, that's kind of the environment that I grew up in as well. Even, beyond, like, after, I, pretty much got over, like, the whole, like, obviously people kind of have this, like, weird, like, like, I feel comfortable in my skin being Black, but you still get, like, the, like, okay, like, try to avoid me just because of it. But it's really, like, it's not, like, bad. It's not, like, terrible. Where I, like, Newark, Delaware, that's, like, the main suburb area in this part of Delaware, the Newcastle County part. And yeah, like you said, like, people avoid eye contact, especially like if you're going into college town, like University of Delaware.
Oh God.
It's just like, like people avoid people like they're the plague. And it's like, okay, this is nice. I know it's not just me. It's beyond, you definitely know. It's not even about racism. It's just like people are just, we have our own lives and we just stick to our lives. That's what it is. And it breaks my heart that is this society that I grew up in. But that does make, like, when I went to Detroit, that's the first time I ever went to Detroit.
Welcome.
Yeah, and I immediately got that sense of, like, wow, people are very friendly and people are very open for conversation. I was like, beyond, the only place that we went to that compared was, like, Nashville. Nashville is a lot like that too. And it was very
I've heard a lot of good things about Nashville, and I was like, what? But then I was like, like, this is actually pretty cool. They have that, like, Southern hospitality on lock.
Yeah, you would like it. And the culture, the food's good too. I'm like, oh. So, like, it was pretty popping. But yeah, Detroit, we talked to a lot of different people. We talked to homeless people or people that probably not in the best situation, but they were just so kind. I was shocked. I'm like, wow, like I don't get this at home at all. So that's lovely. And I would love to see these people gain a certain amount of like financial stability or financial income, because like, man, it just
what would it do for them?
Just the expression of like, hey, my government is looking out for me in some freaking capacity, like that would just help people trust like the crumbling establishment that we have. It would help at least trust, you know, that our government is trying to help people in some regard. Not, of course, I'm not trying to like, I don't give a shit about, you know, like CNN, MSNBC and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Still think that they do have a place in our society, that I think they do have a responsibility of like giving out news to people. I do think the future is probably going to be like your Joe Rogans and your H3.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Like, you know, very community-based, very honest, like just shooting the shit type of entertainment. That's how a lot of people are going to get their news. But, you know, like there's a place for that other stuff as well. You know, like, I want everybody to get theirs, really, truly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just, man, I would love to have another road trip. Like, if I could go on a road trip with you, that'd be amazing.
Honey, we're doing it. Okay.
If it's not gonna be in September, let's do it in October. I have no idea where the October debates is gonna be, but like,
we'll just tweet it. And I'll get Fred on the phone and I'll say, Fred, get a hold of Andrew.
Oh my god!
You know. But like that's what we need. And by the way, Rob was like ecstatic about this whole like media operation to the point where I was like, dude, like, holy shit, you know, I get it, but like, tap the brakes. And again, no offense to Rob, but like, and I understand it. But like, when we had the chance to like just literally say a quick word to Andrew about it, when he came over, you know, to take that picture, and fucking Katie missed the focus. Thanks, Katie. I'm kidding. Don't. But Zach is a better photographer than Katie. That's hands down.
Oh my god.
I'm saying it right now. But anyways, when we did that, and like Andrew was like, we were like kind of like arranging like how we're gonna stand for this picture quickly because they had to be out for debate prep. Like Rob and I were like coming up. We just like were chatting with Andrew because we're just right in front of you. You know, we're just like, hey man, how's it going? He's setting down his tea and all that. And, you know, Rob was all like, yeah. So what we're trying to do here is just a full on non kind of campaign affiliated or not like top down from the campaign media operation. How would we get more people talking about Yang and from the bottom up? And like, of course, Andrew was like probably so sleep deprived and he was like, fuck, I got like 6 hours more of debate prep when I get back to the hotel. I understand Andrew's like, you know, tiredness or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But no, but still, nonetheless, he still listened to what we were saying, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, you guys should go for that. Like, go for it." And that's all we needed to hear. If we hear it from Boss Man, John, Zach, you know, Shelby, sorry, Boss Man rules. But
yes,
like,
just filmed it.
And that's where we are right now. So, Andrew, thank you for letting us talk your ear, or letting us talk your ear, because we were all stressed, we were all anxious, we were all like kind of like, oh my gosh, it's Andrew Yang, but we're
like fangirls up in there.
Oh my gosh, we were all so tickled. I was in that picture, the group photo, my eyes were like, and I was just like, I'm tired and I'm ready to go drink, and that is what we did.
Yeah, Rob is he's a pistol for sure.
Oh yes.
So I do. Yeah, we had a game plan going into that fundraiser. We wanted to make sure I got my, when I talked to Andrew, I got it on film. I'm like, I posted it on my.
I love that you just walked up and he was like, no, you're amazing, and I was like, my heart's melting.
I was like, oh my god.
But seriously, it's like the fact that you just went up there and recording a video, you weren't like worried about these superficial things of like, am I intruding on their privacy or no, dude, you know, you're taking pictures with Andrew fucking Yang. And that's the whole point, is like, I feel like this guy is my friend before my boss, so to speak, you know? And that is something that is so, so, so different. Granted, Andrew, be careful because you're going to get a lot more friend requests coming up.
Yeah, he should get
Marc Klockow on Facebook. Accept Marc Klockow on Facebook. Marc Klockow would like to be your. I'm kidding. Okay.
You should get a bodyguard at this point, I think. Like, at least one.
He's gonna need that probably pretty soon.
But yeah, at least listen. We got him while you know he's new and fresh. Yeah, listen. I wanted to make sure. Yeah, he's first of all one. I was blown away at how cool he is. Like I'm like this guy. I'm getting all like he's just no anxiety, no stress. He's just like totally.
Yeah, man.
I'm like,
yeah, we're here, man.
like, he probably was like all these stressed people, all these like people are freaking out. I love them. He probably was like, wow, this is amazing. But I'm just glad that, like, again, like me and Rob do want to hammer in like the alternative media aspect of the Yang Gang and the grassroots. So,
as long as it's in humanity first values, that's all we need. That's literally our only rubric.
for sure. And we suggested him. We were like, okay, like we was like literally stood up all like we stayed up all night trying to figure out, okay, who can Yang be? Who can Yang have like a podcast with or have an interview with that would help him out the most? Street cred wise, you know, like who can you go to? And actually Rob was really like for Casey Neistat for the longest time. I was for like Larry Vaynerchuk. Oh my,
it's gonna happen. It's going to happen.
Oh my god. Like when Casey got that hat and took that picture, I was like, Rob, oh my god, your dream has come true. And he's like, yep.
Yep.
Like he freaking knew it. He like because he knew that Casey was already a champion for UBI in the first place, so it was natural for Casey to go. I was shocked. I was like, Jesus, like Casey's freaking huge.
Yes.
In the YouTube community, and to me, YouTubers are like celebrities. Honestly, at this point, like trade a YouTube personality with a celebrity, I guarantee you they probably get more of a crowd than like a traditional celebrity.
It's a win-win, yeah.
So I mean, I've gone to like VidCon and stuff. Like I know, like. You know, we are already like more people are obsessed with like people on YouTube because we trust them more and they're more real.
Yes. They've proven themselves to be honest commentators of what we need to have conversations about. I mean, that's what made Joe Rogan's podcast so big. It was like, okay, this guy that was on Fear Factor and did all this MMA stuff. Okay, he's just talking to people now, but he had the production quality, he had all the things, and he had the laid back attitude. Where he's had Candace Owens, he's had Bernie Sanders, he's had Andrew Yang, he's had Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, he's had
Alex Jones.
Oh my God, that was the funniest. I've got to say that was like the most like terror acid trip podcast I have ever seen in my life.
I actually haven't seen it yet, but
it's a mess, but it's a mess that's entertaining because you just kind of like Joe is like the common glue here, and it's like okay, Alex just at a certain point is like rambling for like a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many minutes, and then Joe's just like, you know, like so what's your point? And then like Alex just replies like, you know, I'm kind of retarded, and then Joe just rolls over laughing because it's such of this like shit show of all of these conspiracies and all of this and that, but still, it's a platform to talk about it in a very honest sort of way. And that's what I loved about it was I just literally saw like, you know, 3 guys on that podcast, the Alex Jones one. They were just all kind of like just talking like guys at a bar, talking like friends, you know, and that's the conversation that we need to be having. We just got to be able to have these conversations. I mean, we can go into the deep dive of like, political correctness and this and that. You can't say this, you can't say that. And granted, it's a two-sided coin, right? You know, there's a case to be made about like misgendering people or just being completely rude and disrespectful. But there's also a side of the coin where it's like, dude, if we can't talk about this, then how are we going to actually find a solution to this complicated issue? So, and that's where I see Yang being like this, just wow, man,
yeah, total, like, talk about, like, an example, setting an example for the conversation, and going on these long-form content or long-form conversations, that is perfect because people can see, oh, this is how a reasonable conversation should go. Like, people don't, like, literally, people don't talk to people nowadays. So it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. Whether you can't get that from like a 7-minute interview from, I don't know, like whoever the hell from Rachel Maddox or something. I don't know. I literally forgot her name. But yeah, like you can't get that from some, from that format. You really have to, and people know this. People, or at least they're definitely starting to know this. That's why, like, I really, like, I want him. Oh man, if I had my dream, I'll ask you this first. Like, if you had your like top like 3 people that like Andrew should go on their like channel, or they should go on their podcast or whatever, like who would be like your like top 3 people that you want him to talk to next? Curious.
I mean, he's already hitting a lot of the marks like that I would already request. I mean, of course, he already hit Joe Rogan. He's already hit all of like the radio talk shows, or not all of them.
Hot 97.
Well, those are great. Obviously, the next one that's due is Casey Neistat. I think Casey is going to be huge. And then, right after that, Elon Musk. You need to get Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and Andrew Yang in one room. Maybe not Joe Rogan, but the point is we need to have a conversation with the 2 of those guys bouncing ideas off of one another. And just, it goes to show where we can take Elon's like pie in the sky ideas, as some people paint it, and then contextualize it into a presidential platform. And that's, I mean, I think, okay, so Elon is definitely big. And I believe already, last night, Yang actually mentioned that his campaign is in talks with Elon right now. Like, wow. So they are planning on doing something. Besides Elon, Casey is huge because Casey's story, and Yang was smart to post that video of Casey talking about, like, Casey brings up the question in, can money solve your problems, or can money make you happy? And it's like, yes, it can. This is a capitalist system. It's not everything. I agree that, there are certain facets, but that's where Yang's thing about like redefining jobs comes in. But the point is, Casey started in trailer park property, and Casey literally went out and made like that one. He started off with this one video, or like one of his first big videos was the bike lanes in New York City. And it was just like a video just showcasing what happens when you take a bike ride in New York City in the bike lanes. And and people were like, oh yeah, that probably should be addressed, because he demonstrated the problem, and he then evolved on his vlogging style. He became pretty much the king of vlogs, because it was just short, quick, concise editing, sending the message and not having this negative filler time. I mean, you've seen those YouTube videos where it's like you're trying to watch this thing and it's like a 25 second like intro with this like,
oh my God.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Get fast forward, forward arrow, and that's something that Casey really perfected, was just getting that message down to a T. And that is when you see how they can interact now in the future. I'm so excited to see what happens. Oh. Like, and besides Casey, oh God, who else? That's a good question. Jeez.
And it could be just like a show, like it can be like
any big YouTuber that's like just talking to the cameraman. I mean, literally just look at the big audiences and just tap into those. I mean, what's his name? The Franco.
Philip DeFranco. That would be that would be big.
That's what I'm saying. We just got to keep.
I didn't think of that.
We just got an Elon Musk endorsement. We have to take this energy. We have to take this and send it in.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with all of that. In addition, and this is why I told him in my clip, I told him I really, really want him and Gary Vaynerchuk to meet, because Gary Vaynerchuk is like, as soon as I saw Yang, and I can remember like the night that I was like just binge watching all of his interviews, I was like immediately like, I actually DM'd like the Instagram campaign page. I was like, okay, I love you guys. Like, I know like probably won't see this, but you guys, like, I think that you guys should meet up with Gary Vaynerchuk, because he reminded me of him so much. Do you know him by any chance?
I think I actually know.
Gary V. Yeah, Gary VEE. This is like, his hip name. So he is.
Oh yes. Oh no, perfect. Yep, that's probably the next guy I would recommend. Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
As you said, that like he I think he knows him, and I think they're probably trying to get to him too. But I've been saying for the longest time, I'm like, listen, like I know that Gary doesn't want to like get into politics like a lot because this is not his wheelhouse, and his thing is like he talks about the things that he's good at, which is being a businessman, which I respect. But I love that, first of all, he's an immigrant. He's a son of immigrants. Okay, they're both like hustlers. They both hustle. They both like have this level of empathy and compassion for people that's super rare. They both have this like masculine and feminine energy that I think is so important for males to see, especially because people see Gary Vaynerchuk and he's like loud, he's intense, he's aggressive, but behind that he is super freaking kind and super nuanced, and he's really creating like a great movement for a lot of younger males that like, oh yeah, you can you can be that way and be a strong person as well. You can have compassion for people and not seem like like a girl about it or something. Like you can be like
you can exude this like kind of like feminine calmness or whatever, and you can still be at the top of your game. Yeah. And I think that's why I think both of them, because like you're saying, Gary Vee's kind of approach about like, you have to do this, you have to do that, like that would be an amazing counterbalance with Yang's like, yeah, man. It's like,
you would just say, yeah, I agree with you. And even Yang can get like, I can see Yang can get saucy as well. Like I can see it. So I think like that would be epic. Gary's show is like the Ask Gary Vee show. That's his like, podcast. That's the main podcast thing where he just talks to people that he likes, and like he doesn't even have to get into politics. They can just talk about their entrepreneur life, really. And then that's like a whole conversation in itself where, they're both family men, I just so much potential. And then if they do want to get to politics and talk about the UBI, I think is super important. It's be interesting to see, like, because Gary Vaynerchuk is, again, he's all about hustle. And, anytime when somebody comes to him and say, I don't have money to start a business or whatever, he'll say, like, okay, listen, like, go on eBay, sell whatever, like, freaking cup that you have. Like, everybody has something. Like, we live in America, you have something. Start from the bottom, like, just slowly but surely sell yourself on, like, Craigslist or something, and ball rolling. But I'm very curious to see if Gary Vee would be down for a UBI, if he would see that as like, oh yeah, like that would.
Yeah, it's not enough for people to completely just like forget about life and slack off, because it isn't. $1,000 a month is not enough fucking income. Newsflash. But it's still enough to actually give you the means to get up off your ass, in his words,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
No, I 100% agree.
He's all in like the tech business. Like he, again, like Elon Musk, like he was one of the first people to like buy Google AdWords and to go on YouTube. Like he's one of the first. So he understands that like tech is gonna take over the world. He kind of jokes in his vlogs that like, yeah, like the robots are gonna kill us all. And like he jokes that way in the sense that like I think before I thought that he was just like talking about Skynet or whatever, but now like after like listening to Yang, like knowing more about automation, I see that probably he was more referencing to our jobs, and that, oh yeah, like the robots are going to take over like how we work, and then self-destruct. And so that's why Gary Vee is all about, listen, you have to find what makes you happy. Like what would you want to do in your life that you could do for a living? And if you have that thing that you want to do, work as hard as hell for that. And that coupled with like Andrew's like, okay, like I'm going to try to get the resources into people's hands, and coupled with that with Gary Vee's, okay, what is the value of work? How can we redefine work? Gary Vee has already done that. And he's bringing that conversation to like, he's still like, he's not a celebrity, but like he's really teetering that. Like, he's really big on the YouTube scene and on the business scene and everything like that. But he's like created like a personality like of himself. So I think that the more people know about him, and just continue to have this conversation on what is work and what is human happiness and all this stuff, that mixed with Yang and his policies, it's just like magic. So that's why I think that they should meet primarily, because that'd just be amazing. And Gary Vee has so much street cred, and his audience is so loyal. Like, that would just be amazing.
That's the thing, man. It's like we've got this crazy. I mean, geez, I just like found another. Oh my god, I love these memes. I'm gonna send it.
Yay!
Actually, no, let me share it. Yeah, I'm just gonna share it so yeah, people can like see it or whatever.
Yeah.
Portion screen. It's just this like. I gotta I gotta like reformat it. Hold on.
Whoa.
It's like the Windows XP meme. You're using GDP to measure overall nation success. Update to Yang OS, nihilism, or update.
Oh my god.
That memes, man. We got the memes.
Oh my god.
Like
oh my lord. That reminds me, I have to donate to Give Shinobi right now, because I'm putting it off, but I need to do it. I don't know if he made that meme, but like, I love that. I love that shit, dude. It's just so creative and so clever. And I know, like, we do have a sense of doom and gloom, but it is mixed with like a lot of hope and optimism. Really, like, you need both. Honestly, I think you need both to really like to live life properly. But I think the Yang Gang has a really sweet balance of that. And we're just like fun people to be around. Like, we're just freaking dope. So seeing the memes flourish. Has anybody, I'm curious, Mark, has anybody told you that like you look, or at least remind them of like an anime character?
I've been told I'm a Hollywood movie star that I've been mistaken for. Yeah, anime characters, I've gotten that a little bit, probably because of my hair and I haven't like cut it in a minute.
I loved it, by the way.
Thank you. Dude, that's what I don't get. I was just like, just let it go. And then like I got compliments for it, and I'm like, what the hell? You're complimenting me?
It's so you. I love it.
Oh my god. Okay, let's look at someone trying to rile up Twitter and stuff. Just another exhausting tweet.
I know.
At argument winner. His thing is a Halo 1 character, and his thing is woke Reagan. This is what he says. Andrew Yang doesn't want to give you $12,000 a year. Andrew Yang wants to limit the amount of social safety net each human being gets to get $12,000 a year. That's why he's a dog shit candidate, and all of his followers are desperate rubes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, Alyssa, desperate rube. Explain that one.
Right.
And then he tries to reply to like win over like the gamers. I just want to also add that I could absolutely obliterate Andrew Yang or any of his supporters in a Halo 1 Blood Gulch 1v1 deathmatch. Video game reference because I just said something edgy. It's like, dude, this guy reeks of like that.
Right.
Well, the deep 4chan, like, you know, video
like
game.
edgelord type deal.
But again, it's the argument that UBI is going to kill social safety net. Here's our argument. The current social safety nets are much more punishing than what $12,000 a year cash would be.
Yeah.
And there is like, and then if you tell them that, they'll be like, no, you just want to do my previous point. And that cognitive dissonance, it's going to eventually topple on them. But we're still seeing a lot of comments like that. And it's fine. People can ask questions and we're here to answer. But when you say all of his followers are desperate rubes and he's a dog shit candidate, like, dude, you're just trying to invoke a reaction. We can see right through that. That's why Scott Santons replied, please read this before tweeting again about Yang. It's important to have a discussion that include all of the very important details. And then let's see the replies. It's fine. It's just like, again, what we're talking about here is we're not trying to kill social safety nets. We're trying to make a better system so people can get not off their ass, because I don't even want to say that because that's stigmatizing to the people that are in the social safety nets right now. You can't make better for yourself without all of your benefits being removed. A UBI is a direct combatant to that. So
don't you just love the hypocrisy? Like, a lot of these people will say,
gosh, driving me crazy.
They'll say in the same sentence, okay, well, like $1,000 a month is not enough. Like, what about that like single mom that has 4 kids or something? And then they'll say like, we don't want free handouts. Women don't want your free handouts. I'm like, which one is it?
Yeah, point to which woman, yeah.
I'm like, first of all, okay, I don't plan on having kids. Maybe I will, but I don't plan on having them.
Well, right now, it's not smart for me to even think about that idea, yeah.
It's not even, exactly, it's not wise, it's not, I would probably do more harm than good. Like, it's not a good idea. But,
honesty.
no, really. But, like, okay, if you're a woman and if you decide to, have 5 kids, more power to you. But you have to know that, like, you're gonna have a tough time. So, like, why should we compensate for you and then, like, punish the single male, like, I don't know, college person that, like, he's just hanging out, having a good time. He's gonna use his $1,000 a month to, I don't know, start a entrepreneur business or, like, just his friends or something. I don't know. Like, why should we punish either one of you? Just, like, make it freaking even playing field so it can't be stigmatized.
And then scalability, it helps the bottom 10% more than it helps the top 1% by miles, by miles. It's like, again, think of it this way. You got a UBI and it goes universal. So now we've already, like you said, there's no stigmatization. You can't say this person gets it, this person doesn't.
Yeah.
So say someone is making right now, I don't know, let's say they're barely scraping by with like 20K a year. They're working like, 60 hours a week, which is inhumane. And they're doing it in a job and field that has no real, like, it doesn't speak to their heart. But they're getting by, they're trying to do their best. They're just surviving. They're not living, they're surviving. So now you introduce an extra $12,000 into their bank account every year, or $1,000 every single month. What is that going to do to their income? They just went from 20K a year to 32K a year. That is a massive jump for their livelihood. Whereas, okay, someone's making 500K a year. Now they're making 512K a year. It's like, that's the point, is like that it can't be stigmatized as this, like, rich to poor transfer. It's more so, we're just giving everyone a leg up, and we can afford it because we're not harnessing the gains from these technology companies that are going to take your jobs, even your comfortable jobs too. And that's the thing that it's coming for your comfortable jobs too. The ones that you're making like 50, 60, 70K a year, it's going to happen there too eventually. So why not start the process? Why not get the ball rolling with a UBI, with a Medicare for all direction, with ending the wars? It's like, why not? That's very agreeable.
Because people are still stuck in what they've been taught for their entire lives. Like, our education system is so freaking dog shit. Like,
God.
You're still teaching kids that, an accounting job is going to be beneficial. It's going to be there when they graduate college. Like legitimately, it's just so far behind.
They're lying to our youth.
Yeah. And the kids know it. Like, are you kidding me? Most kids want to be YouTubers or, like, Twitch streamers. They know that, like, okay, why would I want to, like, all the information is on the internet. Obviously, information is, a school going to, Gary Vee says this way better than I can explain it. But essentially, the value in a school right now is just their brand. It's not how much knowledge they can bestow on us. It's just their brand. If you
it's their test scores. Yeah, it's and that's something. By the way, my hometown. I grew up in Grand Blanc, which is like 10, maybe 15 minutes in some areas outside of Flint. And what we have in Michigan here is the school of choice program. I'm not sure like how that relates to a lot of other places, but it pretty much means if you have a school near you that actually is like a lot better than, say, Northwestern in Flint, your kids can go to Grand Blanc and it's not going to be a problem. They just can come. Yeah. And that's a great program. But what it ends up doing is it blends all of these different types of people. You've got these privileged kind of white kids just like, walking around, and then like they get all these like Flint kids coming into the school, which is fine. But it's I've noticed the social, like the thing that people didn't talk about but was present, and there definitely was a lot of racism. There was a lot of that, like just quiet hush hush racism. But what it ends up doing though, when you just in general, in a numbers way, I'm not saying it's the Flint kids' fault, I'm saying in a numbers way, when you're pouring in all of these kids to this one school, it's going to affect your test scores and all that, and they just start lowering the bar of the passing grades, so they can say, we graduated this many people. You really didn't train them well enough, and you guys cut corners even in the shitty ass public system right now. So what are you really doing? Are you really educating people, or are you lying to them? And that's when I graduated from high school. I was just like, Christ, is college the right direction? I was like, well, I could go into IT. I'm good with computers, and I hated it. You know, I got into those classes in college. I did one semester, and I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's what I did too. I did one semester of like community college, and I was like, I can't do it. I literally like.
It was like high school, which is already so bad, but
Exactly.
worse. But it was privatized, and I'm like, what? I have to. Then I literally just took whatever I had saved up, and actually ended up moving out with that money. Granted, then my chin started scraping the pavement and the real world and how hard it is to live on your own.
Right.
Right now, I've got like a month and a half left at my current place, but I don't want to leave Detroit now because the people around here, I can't leave it because there's so much potential in the humanity aspect. And that is so different from my hometown, which was just this zombie state of go to college, get a job, do
the thing.
So exhausting.
There, yeah, all this, all this stuff. Oh my God, yeah, that's what's happening in our schools in Newark as well. Because a lot of people from Wilmington are like, it's the quote unquote like ghetto area, and like a lot of them, a lot of people that live in Wilmington are Black, and it's kind of it's kind of like your Philly, but like to a lesser extent, or like the bad part of Philly, but a lesser extent, right? So like this has been a problem for like since I was in elementary school, like combining all these people, and like the culture clash is just too much, and it's distracting from the education part.
Bingo.
And it is lowering, unfortunately, it lowering the I think, and that's why like my high school, the New York high school, like it was a pretty good high school, but like I think it's like our test scores went down a lot because of a lot of kids like I forget what it's called, like busing, I guess, like first of all, these like mad props to these kids because we have to wake up at like 5 a.m. to like catch to and like
the real grind. Like these kids are like whining about I gotta get up at 7:30. It's like, bitch, shut up. This kid over here is like trying to like make everything work right, and that's something I've seen actually about like a lot of Black families is they have very good values with no, you're going to go to school and you're going to do this.
Yeah.
Our problem though is what we're saying is, listen, just in general, the public schooling system, yeah, it's better than no education, but that doesn't mean that it's the best that we can do by any stretch of the imagination. It's still based off of the wire classrooms. You got like all these rows of kids. You know why? It's so they can get them into the factories and work there and get them adjusted to that. Guess what? Factory jobs are gone. They're gone. They went wall-to-wall machines now. They're not wall-to-wall immigrants. They're wall-to-wall robots. And you cannot compete, even if you're the most skilled guy out there, guy, gal, whomever, you're not going to be able to compete with the robots. And the robots save the company's money. They're going to stick with them. And they're going to keep advancing. So it's like all this stuff, we're being trained for this 1970s economy, where we need to be training for like the 2020 economy.
Oh, yeah.
And why aren't we? Well, corruption, well, all of this stuff, well, all the distracting, media. It's a cesspool, and that's why we're having these calls right now is we need to talk about this, put this on the internet, and say, listen, if you agree, just, hey, drop us a like, drop us a comment, let's have a conversation. That's all we want to do is have the conversations that we are not instilled to have from
Oh,
being
yeah.
part of the system.
For sure. Like, we're doing this from the ground up, which I love. And that's why I have so much, I have so much passion for this. But you bring up a really great point about a lot of Black families, like, really valuing education. And I think that comes from just, like, historically, because Black people have been suppressed from education, because that's how, historically, that's how, you know, like, I hate to say white people, but it's just like not every white person was.
I know, and I would hope that people watching get the difference.
No, yeah, exactly. But that is how, you know, that power is kept in place to keep us down, just by education. And, you know, that's how a lot of Black people fought back, and that's how we've excelled, because education is key. You know, like that is very true. But now the problem, it's not a problem, but now, like, the shift has accelerated so much that, like, we don't need our old establishment systems anymore. And a lot of, like, Rob was asking me, you know, why, like, why do Black people vote traditionally, like, as Democratic establishment? And I'm just like, I think it's because a lot of Black people are so, we grown, like, I guess in a way appreciative of that establishment, because now we're in a better place than we were since, like, you know, like, civil rights movement and stuff. But we don't see that, like, that establishment Democratic Party is not for us. And, like, it's
it's like I get what you're saying. It's like, you were the party of the people at a certain point, but then you let it get corrupted, and once it got corrupted, it lost its initial value.
Exactly. And a lot of Black people do not know that, because still, like, a lot of Black people are still in a very tough spot. A lot of us are just in, like, survival mode. And I'm exactly. I'm actually pretty well off. Like, like, my parents are, like, rock stars. Like, they did get a great education. They hustled their asses off. And, you know, I'm not poor by any means. Personally, I'm poor, but, like, I do live with my mom and shit.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I get it. Like, I have family members that are in that situation, and I just see, you know, I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I do know that, you know, that's why, like, going out and about is super important, because a lot of people of color, whether it be Black or Hispanic or whatever, like, they're not trying to be on social media, like, trying to keep up with, you know, like, whoever the hell, like, they really are just trying to hustle. So let me screen share this thing right here. You probably know this guy. I know, like, okay, this is pretty funny, because I saw this guy when I went to the New York rally. He was actually standing behind Andrew Yang, and his name is Jay Della Rosa, I think. And he was saying, like, okay, let me share it, you know, let's do this. Bam. Okay. So, yeah, he said yesterday, like, you know, damn, it feels so good to be a Yangster. He's tripping. He said he went to the park and told about 25 people about Yang. Every single one of them were excited afterwards. I was like, wait, what?
No, definitely. And I see, like, Liz coming in there from Portland, and, like, you know, it's like, this is great, because it's just, we've got such a great support base. I'm really proud of it. It's just, it's wonderful to see. And that's exactly the energy that will get Andrew Yang elected, is we just got to talk to more people. And it can be casual, you know, it can be, sometimes I just joke and I'll say, like, oh, hey, let me give you a quick little, like, propaganda card. And I, like, say propaganda card, just kind of, like, you know, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. But it's like, no, actually, I do support this guy, though, because he has some interesting values. And what I'm trying to do to people is make them think a little harder. When I say propaganda card, it's double meaning, you know, it's just like, okay, well, now I have this card. I guess I'll take a look, you know, 3-minute video, 100+ policies. There you go. And also it helps out being able to say, like, hey, you're working for the campaign in some way. But in a lot of ways, if you just support Yang, if you tweet about Yang, I would consider you working for the campaign. I mean, not really, but there's a difference between the staffer position and that.
Obviously.
But Christ, man, it's just a matter of a true grassroots movement. This is more grassroots than, you know, Bernie Sanders movement right now.
By a country mile.
You know, and it's that's That's where we're at.
I'm literally blown away of the international support as well. I'll say this every like yeah.
How did they hear about him? You know, but it's like, well, actually,
yeah. Like
they're not as much in the scarcity economy. They got proper social nets out there where they can actually think a little harder. And even if it's not their system, it's like, well, this would be really probably good for America.
Dude,
and yeah.
But it gave me like a reality check. Like, oh yeah, like America is the superpower of the world, and whatever America does, like, it's going to affect them in some way. So
yep.
It's smarter for them to pay attention. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good freaking point. Like, I just love them because they're just so freaking kind. Like, there's like, I saw on the Slack, like, I think last week, like even like Tokyo, they had like a Yang gang, meet up. There's like 7 people. And it took this beautiful picture. I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm like in tears right now.
I mean, that's my direction of this campaign right now. And I'm thinking I'm going to be rolling out a service here soon. As soon as I hear like these last minute details from Nate about this whole other thing. But what I'll be doing here, and this is going to be my own independent venture of I'm going to be offering to do, well, first of all, for the Metro Detroit area, I'll still do all the photos and media and shit like that for them. But I want to offer that to a lot of other Yang gangs that need a facelift, because basically there are some, like Twitter accounts that are like, Jesus, man, this is pretty unprofessional. But seriously, I'll just say, listen, what do you want to send as a message for your area? And I just blend that in with the style guide of the campaign. Give them a header photo, give them a profile photo, and then maybe a few other things they could use. And that's pretty much it. I just
want to be like a traveling photographer. Like, is that kind of what you're thinking?
I'm down so long as I have the means to do it.
I know, right? That's like the only thing. Oh, dude, like if money wasn't like a factor, I'd just be like.
I'd be everywhere. I'd be in Alaska right now.
Yeah, I would buy an RV and like just like pick up anybody on the way. Like, Yang gang, all right, let's go, let's rock and roll.
Paula actually had a really cool idea about getting buying one of those like decommissioned buses and turning it into a Yang bus.
Oh my God, we could deck it out in so much freaking like all the stickers and stuff. Okay, I'm dead freaking serious. Like, that needs to be a thing. I'm writing that down. And I would definitely have like a GoFundMe or something of that, because that is the most epic thing that I've ever fucking heard.
Imagine just like a giant bus passing you on the freeway.
Dude!
Just blasting like Return of the Mac or some shit. And it's just like, what the hell did I just see? Huh. Yang 2020.
I would like, dude, man, that would, oh my God.
What if we gave the bus a giant math hat?
Oh my God. It's like the Magic School Bus, but like we have a hat.
Yes, the Magic School Bus, but the Yang bus.
The Magic Yang bus.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I'm writing that.
We can do that, and that's going to be a new thing too. Is a lot of people are going to be trying to kind of pool their own funds for certain cities and areas. Of course, they're still going to give Yang like a lot of money and shit from it, but the point is that we need to be able to operate with our own kind of funds and all of that, right? We need to be able to not just say, "Hey, campaign," and then hear from top down. We got to do it in our own way, And hell, let's throw some parties. Let's get some funds raised, and we can say like, oh, 50% of this will go to Yang, and then 50% will go to our efforts to support future Yang things, and that's how we can do this.
We really should have that, like a grassroots like fundraiser thing. I don't know if
just you wait. We do have some things in the works that I might not be at liberty to share right now.
I think there's like a super PAC. I know like things are like getting kind of crazy, but I think there's like a super PAC in the works too. I don't know, like that may be a different thing, but yeah, like yeah, we can get some stuff done for real if we get that. And Rob's talked about that too. But yeah, like imagine if we oh my God, if we had just like a pool of money, like we would divvy it out to like like Russell, like and him doing his road trips, and then like all the artists.
It's like, hey, can I have like $200 in like
Yeah.
XYZ money to just do a quick road trip for like a couple days in my home state, you know, and it's like, then you just prove the methods, and then it's like, hey, there you go.
Would be the example of the abundance mindset. We're just like, okay, guys, obviously we have to like be careful who we give it to, but it'll get to the point where like we'll, you know, vet people out and make sure everything's all good and be like, okay, you need money, here you go, bam. And then like people are like, really? And we're like,
but then you can take that money and scale it up. You know, you can actually
oh my God.
fundraise with that initial investment. So that's the whole point here, is like, wow, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think a little birdie told me that we're planning on doing potentially, and this is just still up in the air, so this isn't official. Don't quote me. Don't put me on Twitter for this. But Yang Gang parties, literally a social way that you don't even have to be a Yang supporter to go to it. It would just be a standard party in support of Andrew Yang. And all we need is like a tiny bit of money investment to throw that, and we could 10x that money and then take half of that 10x money, half of it to the campaign, half of it back to us, and then we just grow on that, and we keep growing it and growing it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'm trying to find the fault in this, and really it comes down to like, you know, with the super PACs, what I've heard, you can't have direct direction from the campaign. That does violate like super PAC laws, but that's really the only thing that keeps us. So again, I don't want to publicize like too much of like you know, any background planning, but the point is, even if it's not through something like that, individual pooling is not a bad idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I just can't wait to see like
I can't wait. Oh my God. So
and next podcast, I'm telling you, we got to get Fred, and we will talk for like, you better have like tons of coffee, tons of like you know, anything you need. Oh God, Fred, well, he's always driving, he's always on the road, so yeah, he can talk for hours.
Dude, he has so much good stuff to say. I wish I had like our conversation recording, because he just like killed it. I'll get you see how like Zoom is letting us stay on for like however long, because
that's like 2 people or whatever.
So yeah, I'll definitely get this upgraded system, so we, you know, make sure there's nothing, you know, we were all set.
Nothing in the way.
I know, there's nothing standing our way. But yeah, and I'll text Fred. I'll be like, listen, like when are you for free? I'm free pretty much all the time, but well,
yeah, I find the time, you know, like wherever I'm just kind of like, okay, I gotta get this and this done, but then after that, I'm all good. Yeah, no, like honestly, let Fred know that. Just say like the podcast idea that I talked with him about, also with Boyce Littlefield. He's Mindful Skeptics, and I want to bring him into this conversation too, and then we can kind of lay out the groundwork for a system and how we can get this going. Because hell, if we are successful with this, say if we raise some money for this, then we could actually get a physical location. Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine if we actually had a literal location to do like professional, you know, audio and, you know, the whole series. Like, let's do it, because if we're not going to do it, then who else?
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. Yang Gang Media. And yeah, I have Boyce's number actually. Like, he already has.
Same. I literally think I got his, like, I'm not going to show it on the video, but like.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, it's too blurry. You can't see it, but that's Don't worry, I'm not compromising you.
Yeah, I have his number. I have Russell's number. I have friends. So like, and I know Russell's busy, but like, I'm sure he would love to jump in. I saw that Boyce and Russell did do their little podcast interview as well. That was super dope. Yeah, you know, I'm thinking I work tomorrow, but I'm thinking like Friday, right? That's the day after, I think.
Thursday, actually. Yeah.
Thursday, Jesus Christ. So, okay, Thursday, I know where I'm tripping.
I've been tripping since I got involved with this campaign. It is honestly, it has like washed me and like just, oh my God. But yeah, I have some really like big plans with that whole podcasting thing. So yeah, shoot Fred a text like ASAP and just say, listen, we have got like the initial groundwork and talk like laid out for this. And we want to take this to the next level, especially with you and Boyce.
All right, let's get this shit started. So yeah, like, so you think like Thursday is a good time for us to probably talk again, or
I'd say yeah, like mid-afternoon for Thursday or something like that.
Thursday? Okay. Technically are you on the East Coast? I guess. Like,
Yes, Eastern time.
Okay, cool. Or it's okay. We can do it then. Like I don't know, like like 2 p.m. is good. Like
Yeah, 2 or 3, because I'm just thinking, like, you wanna like balance it. Like, let's say Fred's doing a trucking thing in Arizona or like
yep.
California. You don't want to like have him like, Fred, it's 8 in the morning. Come on, time to talk.
Oh, I hate mornings. Dude, I like honestly, like I'm a night owl. If I could stay up like until like 6 a.m., I really would. I promise you.
Same.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we get it. Yeah, next time, listen, like, okay, my birthday is September 6th. That's when I turned 21. So and finally, I know, right? So I'm not gonna drink because I don't really care for drinking, but at least I can get into clubs easy peasy.
That'll change. That's what I said to myself.
Probably.
Drink mixed drinks and like seltzers instead of like beers. Beers will give you. I swear to God, I started drinking beer like leading up to the whole debates, and I was drinking so much beer, my stomach just was like, and I was.
Yeah, the beer belly. Well,
it's definitely sized down since I've been.
We love the thickness, but yeah.
I got that. Yeah. I'm that thick yang ganger.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, great talk. Holy crap! Adding on our initial call, we just did 3 hours of yang ganging.
It doesn't even, Jesus Christ, doesn't even feel like it. But I'll combine it. I'll combine it all. Zoom is pretty easy. Like they'll just
just give you the file. It's awesome.
So, oh my God, I still have to upload like the last call that I did with Sergey yesterday. It's a lot of good stuff. I'll divide a lot of it into clips too. Like any like cool conversations like specific to
Yeah. And hell, I mean, maybe I'll dig through it. I can like throw some timestamps in the description or something like that.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude. Yeah, to help people out. It's a lot of content, but I definitely like if I could like hire an editor, like I would definitely do that. Like, I don't mind doing it, but like that'd be also a cool job to. Oh, that's what you do?
I dabble with video editing. Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
So yeah, let's just combine these forces. Let's combine some ideas. Let's combine some minds. That's the next step is we just got to get more and more conversation going. We'll make it more and more professional as we get better at it. And that's how everything starts. The first ever like Joe Rogan podcast. Oh God, you look back and it's like the audio's bad, this and that's bad, But it's like, hey, that's how it starts. That's how it all starts.
Yes. It's a lot. That first step isn't the hardest one. So we're there.
Definitely.
All right. Okay, Mark. I love you, dude.
I love you too, Alyssa. We've got so much stuff to do. So much stuff.
I know.
Every time, Yang is going to win. Making the prediction now. 8/13/2019, 2:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Holy shit, just dropped the cigarettes. Let's get it. All right, you take it easy now, huh?
Thank you so much. You too.
Yang gang.